And I tell you, Jono, that is why I never get my back waxed anymore, because you just don't know how it's going to turn out.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, tell me about it. Anyway, cheers, brother. How you been anyway, Jono?
Yeah, man, like super busy, but still finding time to play games and stuff. So, tell you, Hannah spilt water on my Vita, so that's dead. Picked up a Switch, which is pretty cool, but don't really know what I'm doing with it.
Oh yeah, sweet. I picked one up late last year too, just around the the Black Friday sales.
I like it. It's just like I've got Breath of the Wild playing that, but apart from Mario Odyssey and the obvious titles, it's hard to know what to pick up exclusive wise.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, same here. I got Pokemon Go Let's Go with the Switch when I bought it, and then I picked up Mario Odyssey, but I haven't really known what else to play on it.
Yeah, actually, I've just downloaded episode 84 of House of Mario, where Drew and Eric and Dane actually went over all the games a new Switch owner should check out. So apparently they're discussing like accessories and games that should be on the wish list.
Get out of here. Did they? Oh, beautiful. Chuck us an earbud, Johnny. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, let's check it out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, the award-winning Nintendo podcast on the Epic Collective, and the doors to episode 84 are open. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and joining me today on the show is Nintendo by Numbers, Eric Zauch.
Ahoy, hoy, everyone.
And pushing through blues, Dane Pevy.
How you going, everyone?
Now, guys, I've got you here because you guys play a lot of Nintendo Switch. You're familiar with everything about it. And I want to do a bit of a buyer's guide episode, just going over everything a new Switch owner might need to know about their new system, or maybe if they're interested in picking one up, get a bit more information on it. So first we'll jump into the accessories, I think, straight away. If someone's just gone to their local EB Games and they've got picked up a new system, what do you think they need to get with it?
Carry case. Get a good carry case. This thing's portable, so you got to get a good one. So that was one of the first things that I bought. So I bought mine from straight into JB Hi-Fi, bought my Switch, and I knew the carry case would be the way to go. So I do a lot of commuting. One of the reasons why I bought the Switch. So I just made sure it was I think I just got a Nintendo licensed one. It's about $20. Hardcover, carries all my games and all the Joy-Cons and everything else. But it's definitely well worth it because I throw this thing in multiple bags. So definitely my first thing that I bought straight off the ring.
Yep, definitely. I think I got the same one you got. At launch, they had like just the grey ones that's got like a grey Nintendo logo on it, and it's pretty good. Holds games, holds a little cloth cleaner in case you really want to polish up your screen, so your friends don't think you're a dirty fingerprint man.
Yeah, I think that mine's the same. Mine's just a black one. But look, it's just one of those things that you just need. It's like almost like when you go buy a mobile phone and like you walk out with it and like it's that brand new thing. Why don't you drop it? It's Dunskies. But just like when you walk out to get the mobile phone, it's the first thing you do. Either you buy a case or you buy like a protective screen straight for it. You're off to one of those kiosks, straight thing. You just go in and buy like the case. So they're not expensive. $20 get you the licensed ones, but it's definitely well worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Eric, what would you recommend a new Switch owner would get?
I'm actually really bad with accessories. Like when I think about it, I'm just like, okay, I'm bare bones man. I don't know. Can you call me a minimalist? Is that the term that you'd use?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like I just kind of come.
That's the hot phrase going around at the moment.
That is the hot phrase,
the
isn't
Netflix
it?
series, yeah.
But so like as far as accessories go, I would just say like if you're planning on playing anything that isn't just 1-2 switch, pick up a Pro controller. It'll make your life like so much easier.
100%.
You need a Pro controller to be able to play. Just to, like this is where I kind of fall apart too, because I don't know whether there's actually better options for people who want a good D-pad or whatever like that. But if you just want a good Nintendo branded controller, just pick up a Pro controller. And I think there's a few designs like you can still get the Splatoon one and the I don't think you can see the Xenoblade one around much anymore, or just get the basic grey. But yeah. This is something that I just whenever I go to pick up a game, I instantly pick up the Pro controller, and then I find out that I go to play Mario Party, and it's like, no, you need the Joy-Con. But
good call.
Yeah, I definitely recommend a Pro controller. A lot of people like ask me like, should I get a Pro controller or should I get a third-party controller? I'll probably recommend stay away from the third-party controllers unless you really do your research. A lot of these third-party controllers, they're missing features, whether it be the HD rumble, the motion controls, the amiibo scanning. I know a lot of people might not need like all of that, but just like the official features, I feel like you should be getting an official one, even though it is a bit more expensive. It's 110 Australian dollars if you buy it full price. So that is pushing it. That is the same price as an Xbox One controller if you buy it full price, especially the limited edition ones. But yeah, I definitely recommend getting one of those as well.
While we're on the controller situation here, I'd also recommend, if you're going to be playing this as like a family console or anything like that, pick up a second set of Joy-Con, because like you instantly got 4 controllers there, and if you pick up any game, you've got a whole family worth of controllers just from picking up another set.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just when you were saying that about the Mario Party, because that was one of the things when we picked up the Mario Party, and we've got 2 young kids, it was the first thing. We obviously got the Joy-Cons that come with it, that's 2, and we found out, like, even when we had friends over as well as playing with the kids, like the extra 2 is definitely needed. So, and also if you've got kids, I'd highly recommend that you buy one of those Joy-Con dock charging, where they can hold like the 4 at the same time. Because the last thing you want to do when you got kids, say under 10, and they want to get into a game, and you got to do the whole sorry because the controllers are got to be recharged, and we've all been there, we've all done that.
Oh,
we
this
all know
situation,
how that ends.
I didn't know how bad it was. Like, I went over my nephew's place the other day, and he's got a PS4. He doesn't have a Switch. I know. I'm disappointed in his parents. It's not his fault, but
that's where his uncle needs to step in, Eric.
Uncle Eric.
Uncle Eric.
But I went over the other day, and he's got 3 PS4 controllers, all flat, every single one of them, and it was just an absolute nightmare. He couldn't play the game he wanted to. It's just you need one of those charging docks.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, that's the thing with the PS4 controllers as well. They only last 4 hours, so it doesn't take much.
Yeah, it flies through them.
Yeah, I've got a dock where it's for the Pro controller and 2 Joy-Cons, and it just plugs in USB, so I can plug into the dock itself, and it's really useful. It just puts like a little plug-in that goes into the USB-C slot on the top of the controller, and it just sits right in there. And I actually bought 2 because I have 2 docks, and I just like have 2 in the house, so I can just, whatever room I'm in, I just chuck it down. I think, and you can get it real cheap too. It's quite often it's on sale at EB Games for about 36 Australian dollars.
Yeah, okay.
So it's actually really useful.
That is good.
Yeah, and I probably would recommend getting a second dock if you have another TV you want to play on. I know that the Switch docks are crazy expensive. They're about 130 Australian dollars, which for what the dock is, it's just ridiculous. But for me, what it's done, it's allowed me to actually use my Switch more often, because like I've got my monitors in my sort of personal gaming room or computer room or whatever you want to call it, and also in the lounge room, which has the big TV. And I didn't want to choose between which one I'm going to be playing on. So it's just allowed me to go, all right, I want to sit back and relax and play in the lounge room, or come into my room and maybe record a video or whatever it might be.
On that situation, definitely what me and Nat ended up doing, because we have a Switch each now, we ended up just tossing up the price of like, do we get another dock, or do we just take that 130 off of the price of a new Switch and say, well, we get another dock with that anyway. And so like eventually down the track we got 2 Switches, and basically what I'm saying is, like, if you just got your new Switch, this is a buyer's guide, maybe the accessory you should be thinking of is another Switch.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I actually considered for $130, like, how much extra is a Switch on top of that? Like, if I was actually after another Switch, it's not.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
If
you take the cost of a Joy-Con, you take the cost of the dock off, like, you're getting down to like, oh wow, a couple $100 for the Switch or something.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But I didn't need another couple $100 for extra Joy-Cons and that, because I already had them. Yeah, launch day on the Switch, I think I spent over $1,000.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I've got the limited edition Zelda, got the Switch itself, extra Joy-Cons, Pro controller, a couple of point cards so I could buy some stuff online. Yeah. And
that seems to be the running theme, do you know what I mean? As soon as a console comes out, and obviously it's a brand new start, fresh start, nothing's compatible, especially with Nintendo items, you know what I mean? So, like, you end up, by the time you buy all the accessories, and you got to think, okay, is there anyone else in the family or any friends or whatever that I've got to cater for as well? And then you got to go out and buy all the new release games, and, Nintendo prices are Nintendo prices, and, it's just what you have to do as a Nintendo fan. So we've all sort of been on the end of that one there. And it can be quite expensive being a Nintendo fan, a Nintendo collector. I know, Eric, I've seen a bit of your collection. I can only imagine.
My collection is way bigger than it ever needed to be. It helps having a partner who plays a lot of games, because she. For sure. It splits that cost there a lot. Otherwise, it'd be kind of ridiculous the amount of games that I have. But yeah, it's over 100 now in physical, which is a lot.
Wow, that's incredible.
Actually, that's not a bad point to go on. Like a new Switch owner will be deciding whether they're going to go physical or digital for their games.
Yeah.
Let's sort of discuss sort of the pros and the cons to each route you can go. So personally, I've gone digital. I know Eric, you have gone physical. Dane, how do you purchase most of your games?
Yeah, so I guess like all my first party games, I go physical. Like Eric, I am somewhat of a collector. I started collecting many years ago, and then got to a point there where I thought, you know what, I'll start selling off my collection as it got quite big. And then I found maybe like 6 or 12 months later, I sort of wanted those items back, so I ended up starting collecting again. But yeah, so I'm definitely out of the two. I'm more physical than anything else. I'm sort of like that. I love having the library. I like looking at it. Nintendo for me is a lot of nostalgia, so it's almost like a poster. Having something up there like a book or a library, just reminiscing about like the times that you played it, enjoyed it. I've got stores all around me, so I'm sort of not like in your situation, Drew, where you've got to travel for a fair amount of time to pick up these titles. So that's a bit of a luxury on my end. But at the same time, I'm finding out of all the consoles, this is probably the first console that I've bought as many digital games as I have. And the reason why that is because I'm so heavy into indie games at the moment, and they are digital. They're not all of them are physical copies, and I'm finding that I get somewhat frustrated a bit because I'm like, I love these games, but I'll put them on my collection, and I can't. I'm buying the digital versions, and I definitely get the benefits of having digital, not having to carry the game around, and I do that. That's the carry case bit, and having them all together and worrying about they're so small and losing them, and especially when you got kids, it doesn't matter what they taste like. If they're going to go missing, they're going to go missing. But yeah, so it's an interesting one. I still like physical, but I'm aware that I'm going to be buying more digital with the Switch than any other console.
That was my thing too, because there's just such a big split between what's digital and what's physical too. Like I can pick up all the first-party Nintendo games and some third-party games physically, but majority of your collection's already going to be digital anyway. So it's kind of like if you could go one way or the other, it would be maybe a bit easier to go physical. But seeing as all my games are already digital anyway, I feel like the first-party games aren't so bad to buy that way anyway.
Yeah,
just to kind of throw down where I'm fitting on this. First of all, the games that are coming out later as physical, that is the worst part. Like when you get super rare games and companies like that who are throwing these games that I just buy digital normally, because it's like, well, that's a digital game that's never coming physical, and then they come out, it's just like, oh my god, the collector in me, it kills me. It absolutely kills me inside.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
But so like as a personal opinion, I 100% physical. Again, I'm like you, Dane. I love the library of games. I love looking at my library, and I love being that physical collector. But if I'm doing a buyer's guide and I'm recommending what people should do, if you're not that type of person and you're not planning on reselling these games in the future, like you don't go back to your EB games and trade them in for a little bit of cash, get digital. Just go digital. It's so convenient. It's so easy just to have all your games lined up in a library, all there on your Switch just to load up at any time and not losing carts. And even when you're carrying it around, like you can only, I don't know what your carry cases, but mine's about like probably 6 or something games. So if I go away and I take my carry case, I've got to choose 6 games. How can I bear only playing 6 games? But but yeah, I got to choose 6 games and throw them in there. Where like if they're digital, you just download as much as you can, get a big SD card, and you're all good to go. So like if it's a recommendation, digital. If it's a personal opinion, 100% physical.
Yeah, okay. Well, and the other thing just on that, while we're talking about it, what I sometimes find frustrating is, okay, so for example, my 6-year-old daughter has really heavily gotten into Minecraft. Started from videos. We pulled out the Xbox 360, started on that, realized it can't get a horse, because the 360 version's a million years old. So we downloaded it on the Nintendo Switch. And so, like, immediately, like, it was my thought is, I need it now. I'd like to play it now with my daughter, so I'll download it. And that's the convenience of having it, downloading it. It doesn't take long. You download it, it's there to go, sort of thing. So that is awesome, especially when you've got kids. Then I jumped on a JB Hi-Fi, and I realized there was a physical copy. So, and I sort of, part of me, the collector, went, damn, like, I would have preferred the physical copy. But what was interesting is that the prices are the same. So in my mindset, I'm always thinking, I feel there should be a slightly more discounted price on the digital as opposed to physical. That's just my opinion.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
That
Maybe
could be a
that would
future
attract me to buy digital? Nah, probably not. I'd still probably buy physical. So. But what do you guys think on that, on the pricing side of things?
Yeah, like I'm 100% there that there should be it should be cheaper. Like you're not getting a physical product with it. They're not having to go through stores. There's not shipping costs. There's so many reasons why it should be cheaper. And I think that one day we're going to get to a future where it either has to be or it goes away. Like one of the two is going to happen. It's it's not going to go on forever the way it is. But yeah, it's just a situation, I guess, at the moment where like there's literally nothing we can do unless we just stop buying physical games to say, we're making a point, and then they'll just stop publishing physical games, I guess. So that won't be the point they take away from it.
Yeah, it's mainly because of their relationships with their retail partners. So
exactly.
they can't undercut all the stores they're sending their stock to. So maybe when digital's more prominent and they're able to do that, we might see cheaper games.
We do see it like, I don't know about you guys, but when you pick up like a game at launch, a Nintendo game, quite often like something like Big W or somewhere like that will have it cheaper, and so you do tend to find that you can, like at launch, you can find those discounts. And I know like in some cases in the US, it's a situation that they can pick up a game if they're getting it from Amazon or something like that. They have like their 10 or 20% discounts that they get for pre-ordering through them or something like that. So I think you can, like, there is ways that you can actually get physical a little bit cheaper than digital, which actually sounds ridiculous in that
definitely
context.
That's been one of the hardest things for me, seeing the games be $10 or $20 cheaper than digital. And what's also been really hard for me is like my collection revolves around Nintendo handhelds. So obviously the Switch being mainly handheld, being the cute little cases, I'm like, oh. So it was a big decision for me to go, all right, I'm not going to be a Switch collector as such. But basically what I'm doing is I'm putting that energy back into DS and 3DS. That's where my collection comes in. I just want a big DS and 3DS collection, and Switch is just in the now playing it. I've got a big card, got over 100 games on my Switch at all times. I don't have to worry about... I was playing Mario Kart with friends in a shopping centre. I think there was 8 of us, and I said, let's play Mario Kart, and I'm like, alright, cool. Play Mario Kart. Everyone else is unzipping their backpacks, getting out their game cards, putting it in, taking about 5 minutes. I'm like, alright guys, I was here ages ago. Slow pokes.
Go grab a drink and I'll come back.
Alright guys, I think that wraps that up. So sort of gives a bit more of a clear picture about the benefits of physical and digital. Obviously you need good internet too, so if you don't have good internet, good luck to you.
That's a good point. In Australia.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the first-party games now. Obviously, the Nintendo games and the games Nintendo publishes is a big draw to buying a Nintendo system in the first place. So we'll go through the list of the first-party games and decide whether they're worth picking up for you. So we'll start off with the big one. Obviously, this one at launch, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, came out to huge critical acclaim.
What game is that? I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that
Zelda.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of like a little game that came out at launch. People liked it.
Some indie game,
Yeah, if you get a Switch and you haven't picked up Breath of the Wild, just buy Breath of the Wild. Like, honestly, like out of every game that I could possibly recommend, the game that's just left an impact with me, and I think like the biggest majority of gamers, is Breath of the Wild. So like if you get a Switch and you are like like not as like a family game, but if you just want a game and you're a gamer and you just want to sit down and play a game, get Breath of the Wild, man. Like, or lady or anyone.
I'm gonna be the uncomfortable one in the room, so get ready, listeners.
Here we go.
I picked up my Switch late, but I wanted the game, right? So I went and got it on the Wii U. So I was one of those ones that went out and bought the collector's edition on the Wii U, and I sat down and I played it through the Wii U. And I have not yet picked it up on the Switch. Why has that happened? Because I just never got around to it. Because, I was playing it through the Wii U, and I was playing it through the kids. And by the time, there was heaps of titles on the Wii U that I played through with the kids as well. But it's one of those ones where I'm sort of constantly thinking to myself, like, I would definitely, if someone has a Switch now and they haven't played it and they haven't got it on the Wii U, just like my unique case, I definitely recommend they pick it up. It's an amazing game. That goes without saying. But I always find it's like, for myself, I'm sort of sitting there going, well, do I have it on both? Do I buy it now? Is it just for a collection point of view? Will I go back and replay it, and will it be a different experience on the Switch? Have any you guys would have bought it on the Wii U? I'm the 1%, aren't I?
No. This is where you need a partner. You see, because when Breath of the Wild launched, I picked it up on the Switch, and then Nat wanted to play it at the same time, and obviously at launch we were like, no, we're not. Let's not be ridiculous here. We're not buying 2 Switches at launch. So she just got a copy on the Wii U, and so we played it together. She played it on the Wii U, and I played it on the Switch. So yeah, I'm the 2% now.
Cool, very good. Oh well, I might even do that. Give the Wii U to the kids, and they can keep playing it, and I'll get the experience on the Switch, because it is an amazing game.
It is,
absolutely. I think at launch it really shown off sort of the power of the Switch and what it can sort of bring to you as far as enhancing your gaming lifestyle, I guess. I was able to put so much time into that game just because of the portability of the Switch. Being able to sink your teeth into such a big game, which typically you weren't able to do it before unless you got your consoles, your PlayStation or your Xbox.
Yeah, I was sold on it instantly. Like I played the game at a demo event before the Switch actually came out, and they literally gave us 20 minutes to sit down and play the game. And I sat down for this is before launch. I sat down for 5 minutes with the game and walked away to play something else, like 1-2 Switch and stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm buying this game. I don't need to know more.
Yeah.
It's like this is it. This is what I want from it, and it's everything I wanted. And like you said, Drew, it really does sell the portability of the console, because as soon as you buy that game and you sit down, you're just like, okay, someone else is using the TV. I can just sit down and play Breath of the Wild still, or I can leave the house and I'm still playing Breath of the Wild. It's like this game that I just want to sink hundreds of hours into. This console gave me a way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great entry point to the Zelda series as well. You need no prior knowledge of Zelda. All it is it lets you into a world, you explore it, and you can explore it for 10 hours, 5 hours, or you can spend 200 hours in there. It's an amazing game. Yeah. It gave me the sense of discovery I've never had in a video game before.
It gave me a sense of freedom that I never had.
Yeah,
like a sense of like, I'm in this world, I can do what I want, I can go where I want, and I can find where I want, and I'm going to discover things, and there's never an objective for me to say, like there is, if you want to like try to get to the end, but I never felt like I was pushed at that objective. I felt like there was an objective there that I could just go to if I wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely,
for sure. So next up, we got a big gem here. We got 1-2 Switch. This is a game I enjoyed at launch. It was way too expensive. Just personally, if you're looking for a fun party game and you can get it for cheap, go for it. I think it's a fun use of the Switch's features. It's definitely one of those games which should have been packed in.
I completely echo those thoughts. Like if it's just a fun party game, it's not worth the full price that it's supposed to be. But if you could, like you said, if you pick this up cheap, there's actually a lot of fun to be had here. Like just the silliness and funness of these games. They're good party games. They're good if you get people around who aren't gamers. They're still going to be able to get into this. And so like it's worth a pick up if you find it cheap somewhere.
Yeah.
Have you played it, Dan?
No, I haven't. And I think maybe the reason why... There's probably a few of these titles, or probably, quite a few, that came out either day one or close to release date, that because I wasn't on the bandwagon of getting the Switch straight away, so I come with it, obviously, a different perspective on this, I wasn't pressured, because I think the big thing about this was there was Breath of the Wild, that was obviously the flagship, and then there was all these other little games, and there was a period there where everyone was sort of saying, like, we need more games. So I guess for those people that bought the Switch, they were whetting their appetite on these games, whatever games they could get their hands on. So this is why so many of these people that got the consoles day one have played these games, and there might be games that they've literally like bought, played, been like, yeah, that was all right, and then they put away, and then maybe they'll pull out when people come over or they play later. But it's not one of those ones that they'd be like, yeah, I highly recommend this game. It's sort of one of those ones that it's in the collection, it's got a purpose, for certain people that come around. But outside of that, I haven't played it, but I'd be keen to play it, but it's just not one of the ones with so much choice now. Even on the online store, it's probably not one to be running straight through to.
No, yeah. What I really liked about it as well, with the portability of the Switch, you literally could just put down your Switch somewhere, and it sort of makes that space into like a party area. It's sort of hard to explain without. Like, you think it's just a silly game where you take off the Joy-Cons and you sort of use gestures like, you're a wizard or, just silly things like that. But I remember showing my mum, and we were in the kitchen and we were just having fun, just like playing the stupid games. It really surprised me how much fun it was.
Yeah. Did it sort of give you, like, and this is just out of interest, did it sort of give you that feel like, remember when the Wii first came out and everyone got the Wii Sports? And like it was one of those ones, like I remember when we picked it up like day one sort of thing, and it came around about Christmas time, and like it was one of those ones, it didn't matter if you're a gamer, mum, dad, everyone just wanted to have a go, because it was just this technology that, if you weren't experienced to it, or if you hadn't had the experience, like everyone was playing it. It's that sort of entry sort of game to get of experience about it.
Yeah, I would say so. It definitely did give me the sort of vibe of the Wii and everyone's having fun.
And what it could do and the Joy-Cons.
It almost captured the Wii Sports, but it didn't quite get there. Like, it was still that.
Yeah.
But, like, what it did bring is what you were saying, Drew, is its own aspect of we're selling you a portable console that is, I think there's a point here that you touched on that I just want to reiterate, and that is that, like, you've never had a console like this before that we can, if you want to, if you have your PS4 at home, and it's like, yeah, they have party games, but you have to just leave your TV on somewhere, and hopefully people walk past the TV and want to sit down in front of the TV and pay whatever game's coming up. This, you can just sit on the kitchen table, and people can just be a party area wherever you want to be, because it's got the Switch there,
Yeah.
Like, everyone's just out in the patio having a few quiet drinks, having a smoke, whatever, late at night. And here comes Drew and Eric out with their Nintendo Switch. So here we go, boys. Let's get the wizard on. You're handing out the Joy-Cons. Everyone's sort of looking around, confused. What's going on?
You captured my Friday night perfectly, by the way.
And then they're wondering why they can't beat your high score because you're such a 1-2 Switch fan and you're a pro player.
Don't try beat me at the Gorilla game. I'm good at that one.
Yeah. Next up is ARMS. I love ARMS. I think it's maybe its time has come and gone with all its DLC. Obviously, is finished coming out, and sort of even the pro scene even has moved on from this game because there was a bit of a technical play going on with this. But it is still a fun game to pick up if you can pick it up at the right price. What's your guys' experience with the game?
I'll let you go, Dane.
Yeah, I guess I haven't picked it up myself. I played the demo. The demo was really fun. And it's one of those games, like you said, Drew, like if it came up at the right price, yeah, I'd definitely pick it up. It's one of the ones that I guess I could give it to my kids and they would love it. They love sort of any interaction that they can, and this would be a perfect game for that. So, it'd be just one that you could just, like, I love these games, especially with kids, that you can just basically say, right, we've got half an hour before we've got to get out of the house. Everything's done. Let's throw this on. Let's just have, half an hour good time. Easy to get in, easy to get out. Good for fun for all ages. So, like, I'd be keen to pick it up. It's just the pricing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a bit better explain the game because it is a quite unusual game. Basically, it's a third-person fighting game where you can equip different weapons and gloves to the left and right of your arms. And you can use either motion controls or the Pro Controller just with button controls to sort of like punch, and you can sort of bend your arm because it's on a big spring. And there's different levels, and you can play online.
It's basically it's basically a rock paper scissors fighting game where, like, you've got a throw, you've got your punches, and you got something else that I can't remember what the paper was, but and so you basically were trying to counter whatever the other person was throwing at you.
Throw, punch, and block.
Yeah,
and block, that was the other one.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the basis of a lot of fighting games, but this one allowed you to do it with your arms, which is actually a lot of fun, and it's the way that I like to play the game. Although in the end, people just love to sit down with their Pro Controller and play a game like this. And so I think my final thoughts on this one is that Nintendo creates experiences. This is an experience that, like, a lot of people should try. But with so many other great games on the Switch, I don't know that this is up there with the rest of them.
Yeah.
It's not up there with the rest of them, but it is a good title to pick up.
Yeah, good.
Especially if you're into that type of game. What this game really did for me was the online. The online lobby system really stood out to me. It's probably one of the best lobby systems I've seen. It chucks all of you into a lobby together, and it represents you with just an icon, and it sort of matches you up 1-on-1 or 2-on-2, whatever your sort of game type is, and it throws you in straight away, and just the way it visually represents it is fantastic.
Yeah, it's cool to see the other players just bouncing around there, and you can see other matches happening, and then, like, when they come out, it's just like, okay, which one am I going to get into? You can see that they won, and then, yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
Who did you play as, Eric? Who was your favourite character?
I kind of bounced through them all until, like, DNA Man came out, and then I'm like, oh yeah, DNA Man, he's my man.
I liked Ribbon Girl. She was my favourite.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure she was on the demo too. So I sort of distinctly remember that. Yeah,
and she could do multiple jumps, so you could jumping around.
Oh yeah,
yeah, very cool.
I liked it. Yeah, so yeah, that's a game to pick up if you find it at the right price. Hopefully there is a demo, so you can give it a go. There was like the beta before, but I don't know if there's an actual demo available now.
Yeah, I might have been on that one there. I haven't looked for a long time.
Splatoon 2. What do we think about this one, guys?
Gosh, Splatoon 2. This is one... It sounds like a broken record here with these games that I haven't picked up, but I'm interested in playing. There's just so many. I'm keen to. So
Did you
once
play
again,
Splatoon 1?
Beg your pardon?
Did you play Splatoon 1?
No, I didn't. So I would be. I remember playing the training. I think it was probably on the Switch where I played the training, just getting around using the inks. But I know how big this game is. I know that there's these massive communities, like with the esports that follow in this game, and that sort of. That again in itself is a massive attraction as to if you dive into this game and if you like it or not. So I'm keen to hear your guys' perspective on your experience and if you like it, if you don't like it, and who would sort of like this game as well.
Yeah, Dane, I definitely recommend you go and pick up this game. This is a fantastic multiplayer game, and it's got a great story mode as well to go through.
Yeah, very cool.
Eric, what do you think?
Oh well, so I don't know. Here's the thing: it's Splatoon 1. I put so many hours into. Like I put a ridiculous amount of hours into like leveling myself up and just getting good at that game. And then Splatoon 2 came out. I loved it. I loved the salmon run mode. I loved everything about the new game. But I didn't put anywhere near as many hours into it. And I think it was just a situation of the Switch just kept getting more good at games, and they just kind of kept flowing. And so I didn't get a chance to really to sink myself into this one as much as I did the previous game. But that being said, like Splatoon is like. Look at the list of games we got so far. Splatoon, ARMS, 1-2 Switch, Breath of the Wild. Just adds another diverse list of games where, it's just a game for anyone who wants to get into something on the Switch, just from Nintendo alone, let alone everything else that we'll go over. And so, this is, if you want something really, truly unique, this is a truly unique shooter. Like, it really puts a spin on that. That's really fun.
It was really cool when, especially when the first one came out and you sort of saw Nintendo's take on the third-person shooter, whereas it's like completely different to what you're seeing, like Gears of War or Uncharted on the other platforms.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend it if you're into multiplayer, or even if it looks fun and you want to go through the story. I think it's a great game, and you should be able to pick it up for a little bit cheaper. Maybe, obviously, it's a Nintendo game, so
maybe 59 instead of 69.
Yeah, but yeah, absolutely love Splatoon, and obviously Inkling in the new Smash Brothers might be enough to get you onto the game.
See, that's one character I haven't unlocked yet, so I'd be keen to. But not that you have a choice.
I love Inkling and Smash.
Oh, do you? Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Next up is Fire Emblem Warriors. So this is the Tecmo Koei game based off the Warrior. The Dynasty Warrior series. I'm not personally a huge fan of these games. Myself, just the gameplay wise, I did pick this up. I played through a bit, but it definitely comes down to on this one whether you're into sort of that type of combat and into the Fire Emblem sort of series.
Yep.
I know Bryce; he's a huge Dynasty Warriors fan. He loves these games. So
I'll represent them today. I think I love these games. I really enjoy them. I don't actually get into Dynasty Warriors, but when they throw a theme on there that I can really enjoy is when I enjoy them the most. So to me, I don't know if we can just wrap Horror Warriors up in the same type of bow, but to me,
might as well.
I really enjoyed that one more because of I knew the Zelda characters more.
Yeah. But
this game really had refined the mechanics of the game, and so both are rather enjoyable. And my advice is, if you enjoy either Zelda or Fire Emblem, then try one of these, because you might find something there that you like, and it's certainly it's a gameplay loop that I just like hacking and slashing through. It looks really basic, it sounds really basic, but there is a little bit more depth there than just swing your sword and run to the next area.
Yeah, and I guess I come from the perspective of so I haven't played any Fire Emblems, and I've got the 3DS, and I've seen them. And it's almost like if you ask someone that's never played a Final Fantasy, and it's the immediate question that everyone asks, okay, well, if I've never played one, which is the one that I should play? Because everyone craves it, everyone thinks it's amazing, most of the games that are out there, and they're always like, well, I want to get the best experience, and if I've never played one, which is my go-to? So is it one that you would recommend for someone that hasn't played any of the Fire Emblems?
If you've never played a Fire Emblem game before, these are just really basic. Okay, I just talked them up, but then now I'm calling them basic. They're still fun games, but without that attachment, I don't think they would be there for me. If I didn't know who these characters were, and if I didn't have some sort of recognition with Fire Emblem, and I didn't have some sort of recognition with Zelda, I don't think these games are as good a talking point in that case. I think at that point they become a more basic hack and slash that has some elements of depth there that I wouldn't be seeking out if I didn't enjoy the characters.
Yeah, okay, so it's a bit of a fan service. If you're a fan of it, then
it's definitely fan service. Yeah,
got it, 100%.
Yeah, they especially in Horror Warriors, they really killed it with the music. The music is so good. They did like metal covers of like heaps of Zelda music. It's really cool. Yeah, that's what I liked. That's what I really liked about the game. Horror Warriors, I ended up getting bored and I just let it go. Bryce says, "Oh, you got to finish the story." I'm like, you know what? Is the story really that compelling to pull myself through the game? I would probably say no, but
it goes weird places. But like, it's not that compelling, honestly. Like, if you're not getting sucked in by that gameplay loop, then it's over for you, I think.
All right, I think the next one's a bit of an obvious one, guys. Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh yeah, it's a pick up. Just go get it.
Just go and get it.
This goes alongside Breath of the Wild. It's just like if you want a single player just romp of an experience, this is just up there.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Especially if you're like, look, if you've come from if you've ever played the Mario 64, Nintendo 64, and you're a fan, look, it's just a no-brainer. You're just going to love this. It's next level. There's a lot of depth in the game, and there's replayability, just with the moons and everything else. So, look, just enjoy. I loved it. It's a great... Just
as one, talking point that I'd love to talk up about this is that it does something that Mario can kind of get stuck in sometimes, and that it goes places with its environments. So, like every single environment that you go to in this game is so luscious and different and just really cool to look at, and so I think that's one of the main things that I really enjoy about this game and its experience in its total. If you've played other ones and you're like, oh, why play this one? It's like, well, this not only is the mechanics of capturing really cool, but and obviously platformers like Mario, they nail that. But the environments are something new and different and really fun and cool to look at.
Yeah, great.
For sure. I did feel myself like kind of missing the sort of Mario 64-ish, like going into a world, doing the thing, getting the star, but the fact there are so many moons to sort of discover and collect, I absolutely loved it, being able to just like turn on the Switch, just like casually go through a level and just find as much as you can, then bounce out, go to the next place. Such a magical game. Absolutely love the Mario games.
Yep, absolutely.
I think a lot of people know what Mario's all about. So, Eric, this is going to be one which is pretty much all up to you, buddy. This is Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah, it's all you. Go, Eric.
All up to me. Okay. If you like RPGs and like JRPGs, like here's the problem with any game on this list. These are like there's a lot of recommends here, but there's a lot of recommends with like if you like this sort of genre. But if you like JRPGs, Xenoblade Chronicles is just one of the best ones out there for me personally. And it's mainly because like it has a fun combat loop for me, and like the story's like cool and the characters are cool. But it's a world. It's the world of Xenoblade, and what Xenoblade games do so well is they just introduce you to this massive world that is just ridiculous in size, and then have these again like it's almost like the luscious environments is such a thing with me, but it just has these wicked luscious environments that you walk into some area and you'll just be like, wow, this is massive, this is colourful, this is alien like, and this is everything that I wanted in a fantasy experience. And that's what Xenoblade just does so well to me, and like not just as this game but just as a series in general, like the original ones where you just literally on giant mechs just walking over their bodies. Spoiler alert, I don't really think that is.
No, it's at the start. It's at the start.
Yeah, I thought so.
It's at the cutscene,
Yeah, so like that to me is what these games do so well. And this the latest one, like this one and Torna, really refined the combat system to be even better in my opinion. Apart from X, which has the mechs, which is just fantastic. But I won't go on about that.
Yeah, like the developers of this, Monolith Soft at Nintendo, they actually contributed to the overworld of Breath of the Wild as well. So, obviously, with the amazing scope of that game,
I think Nintendo know their worlds.
That's a lot from the guys who make this game too. So, yeah, I bought it in December of 2017, and I started it. I'm like, some of these longer games, they sort of like, all right, I'm gonna play them when I've got the time.
Yeah.
But you know how you never have the time and you never get around to playing the game. So sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and play the goddamn game. That's what I've got to do anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point nowadays. We are so spoiled for choice, and I know I get thrown out there, but we really are. Like we are so spoiled for choice with regards to games. And the thing is, these games that are coming out now are the biggest time sinks. You've got to dedicate so much time to it. And sometimes you just want a video game that you can just sink into. I've got an hour, I've got 2 hours, I've got one night, that I've got free, and I just want to just dive into something, whether it's familiar or whether it's something that you just choose one game. Like, I know for right now, for myself, it's one of those ones where last year, towards the end of last year, there were so many titles coming out, whether it's on PlayStation or the Switch, that I just kept buying, and I just find the catalogue would just keep creeping up and creeping up. And so I got to a point there where at the start of this year, I'm just saying, no, I just want to find one game that I'm just going to just complete, and then I'll move on to the next game, unless it's like a Mario Party, or if it's a Mario Kart or something like that, you can jump in and jump out. So that's something what I've tried to commit to right now. I've got a game that I'm playing through now on the Switch. It's Hollow Knight. I'll talk about that a bit later, but I want to finish that before I buy any other game. So that's my thing at the moment. But so I'm cautious about time sink games and when I buy them.
Especially like,
by the way.
Those games like Mario Kart, like, they're easy to chuck in and whatever. They're the games where actually it's like, how have I put 80 hours in a month into Mario Kart?
Yeah, it's true.
How have I done that? I could have finished Xenoblade Chronicles. What's my goddamn excuse?
Yeah.
When you guys were growing up, did you ever have, like, I used to call it a rainy day list, and I'd have a list of games that I'm like, I've just got these games that I haven't played, and I've put them on this list of just rainy day games. So one day when it's raining and I've got nothing else to do, I'm going to sit down and play these games. And like, I can't do that anymore because that list is just endless. It's just way too many games. But I used to have that when I was younger.
Yeah, I've got that. I'm like, I need these are classics. I need to play these.
Yeah.
And these are games in my backlog. I've got to play these. These are games I want to ship off to EB Games. I don't want to stress about them anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat.
I don't even have a backlog. I've
definitely got a list of games there that
there's that many games. There's like, if I need something to play, I'll find something. I don't need a backlog of here's the games I need to play because I need to play so much.
Well, Elsa from Frozen gave the best advice to anyone who gets stressed about their backlog. I'll just say, let it go. Don't worry about it. Okay. Just play the games you want to play.
100%.
Come on, Drew.
Back to EB Games for you. 10 days.
Yes. Kirby Star Allies. This was a game I opted out on come March, early 2018. I wasn't in the mood for this sort of easy 2D platformer, especially that it was really based around multiplayer with 3 other people. In my household, it's just me playing the Switch, and unless I take it to a party or to Bryce's place to play with him, multiplayer isn't really on the table.
Yep.
So Kirby Star Allies was one I opted out on, even though I really wanted to play it, but its price tag was a bit too much just for, hey, I'll play this a couple of times and enjoy
I've always found that to be like similar to the Kirby games. Like, I mean, the last Kirby game, I'm just looking at my little library here, would have been that Kirby Planet Robot? Was it that one there?
Oh yes, yeah. On
3DS,
so
I bought the box set for that one there, and the Nintendo 3DS, and I enjoyed that game.
That game was cool.
But it's one of those games where, I guess, if you're a fan of Kirby, you know what you're in for. It's a left to right game. Like, the visuals look amazing, and it's just one to just comfortably sit and play, maybe while doing something else. So it's almost like, I'm watching TV, I'm doing something else, but I'm just happy, just content, not putting like super energy into it. Just happy being in the universe. Do you know what I mean? So I've got no issues with those games. It's just more about knowing when you want to play those type of games, and just like as you said, Drew, just the price tag. It's more so just about, well, I could buy that at full price, or I could go and buy this other game at full price that I'd probably get more playability through. So
when it's similar price to Breath of the Wild, when it's the same price as Breath of the Wild, you're like, oh well, yeah,
you're buying the IP.
It's definitely one of those games that's just like, okay, this is just a easy experience, and it's going to be for someone out there, and you're going to know if you want to be that person. I think. Yeah. It's just not. Yeah. It's like you said. There's just so many other games out there that have that same price tag. That'll be like, well, for me personally, I'll get Kirby if I'm getting 2 games, and if I'm only getting 1, I'm going to get the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, what about the Labo kits? Would we recommend the Labo kits?
Oh, see, this should probably be a question like I should be able to answer. Like, I would have thought that I would have bought the Labo kits a long while ago, having 2 kids, 6 and 3. But part of me sort of thinks like, if I'm going to buy these, like, I haven't gotten hands on with them, so I don't know how is the fishing rod, is that just going to absolutely just tear up the first time my 3-year-old's going to jump into it? Or I
probably
hear
a 3-year-old.
they're quite fun. They are quite.
No one
I
would
know Brendan spoke about in the last episode of the Hungry Gamers that he finally opened his after buying it like a year ago or so, and he found it quite stronger than he thought it would be. He was surprised how long it took him to actually build it. I think he did the basic set, and it took him about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do. And you just got to obviously take care when building them. But it's one of those ones where I'd like to buy it, but it's just, I haven't gotten around to it. Obviously, the attraction's not strong enough for me to rip out there and go buy it for the kids. So, and myself, obviously the piano, I'd love to have a bit of a play on that too. But yeah, not yet. And I'm really interested. It's almost like I want someone else to buy it, then me get hands on and go, okay, how's this mech suit work, and how much play am I going to get out of this before it either A, gets broken, or 2, it's going to end up on the stand, which I'm happy with. It's fine on the stand.
It sounds fun for maybe someone like yourself who, when your kids are maybe a bit older, might be able to like make it and look after it rather than wreck it.
Rather than wreck it, that's it.
I did pick this up at not at launch, but then probably the first week I picked it up, and I'm like, I've got to. I wasn't interested at all, to be honest. But I'm like, all right, I want to cover it on our podcast. So I bought it, and at the time I was flat out doing a lot of physical work. So coming home at night or on the weekends, the last thing I wanted to do was open up my Labo kit and just fold the cardboard and play these little games. So I folded up like the little bug that vibrates around the floor. Put the Joy-Cons on, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Watching this little bug go around the floor, and you can sort of move it left and right. Oh, that's neat. But like the elaborate stuff, like the piano and that, I just did not have the energy. And so I've got this like full box of Labo cardboard just ready to be folded. Maybe one day I'll fold it up when I have children or whatever. Maybe it's a future investment for that.
Maybe if that's still like their thing to go into. Yeah.
I was thinking about returning it, but it's like, oh well, I folded up that one bit of cardboard now. Bugger.
Downskis.
Here's the thing with Labo, and it is, if you're going to get it, you've just got to understand that you're probably just going to put this together. You're going to have fun putting it together because it's actually quite cool seeing this stuff go together, and it is quite strong. But at the end of the day, you're going to put it together, and that's going to be it. You're going to mess around with the piano. You might have a few rounds of the fishing, but it isn't going to be the Mario Party that you get out every couple of nights to have a round with the family. It's just going to be it's going to be that one experience. You put it together, and that's it. And that's the experience that we've had. We put the piano together, we put the fishing rod together, and they are big builds. They do take a while, and that was really fun and really cool and like impressive the way this all goes together. But at the end of the day, it now just sits in a cupboard, and we have no interest in going back and just tapping the keys on the piano anymore or anything like that.
Yeah.
Our tone might change when we see all the Labo costumes in Yoshi's Crafted World. We might be like, oh, you've got to pick one up now. Those costumes are to die for. So cute. We'll move on to Sushi Striker, The Way of the...
Sushido?
The Way of the... What's it called? Sushido. There we go. I don't know why that took so much to get out, but I've played the demo on the Switch, and I've actually picked up the 3DS version just for the stylus controls and that.
Okay.
Eric, you've had a bit of experience with this game, I believe.
Yeah, I finished it. I enjoyed it. I finished it. It's not something I overly recommend, only because I found the loop just to be a little bit too repetitive for my liking. I started at the start, and maybe it's my own fault, but I started just trying to 100% every level that I went through, get the best score, and then move on to the next one. And then I got halfway through it, and I think I hit burnout period on this game, where I was just like, okay, I've had enough of trying to get the 100%. I'm just going to try whiz my way through to the end now. And there's a couple of levels that they played with the mechanic, but for the most part, it was the same thing over and over again, and it's a good thing, but it's just it dragged on a little bit too much for me. I think it's the one point. I found
like the touch controls on the actual Switch itself quite cumbersome, just because your finger is in the way of the actual. You can't see what you're doing, and the button controls are pretty much useless if you're playing on the TV. So I found myself enjoying it a lot more on the 3DS, where you can have the stylus and you can see what you're doing, and it's a lot quicker. Because this game was originally announced for 3DS at one of the E3s, and I think the next E3 they said, oh yeah, it's coming to both, which is fine, obviously, which is great, which is what a lot of people want.
You can
But
tell
yeah,
it was made for the 3DS, though. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, definitely. The other day at EB Games, they were getting rid of this on Switch and 3DS for about $23 Australian.
Yeah, I saw that. I actually saw that last night, and that sort of tempted me. Like, it's those ones there where I see these titles, and I'm thinking, I might actually be interested in this if it came down to the right price. And then those sort of sales come up, and that sort of leads me to think, oh, maybe I should pick this up, But it's interesting what you say, the difference in experience between the Switch and the 3DS. So I'm happy to buy 3DS games. Like, I love playing the 3DS still. And it's probably, look, as a collector, it's probably the best time to start picking up 3DS games. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, especially the 3D, like the EB Games and JB Hi-Fi's and all these retailers that are out now, just like pushing them out the door. Great, put it to the right price. I'm happy to take it.
I would recommend it. What really stood out to me was just the level of polish in the cutscenes, like the anime cutscenes between the levels you're doing, like, really stood out to me. On 3DS, it's really blurry, but on Switch, it looks beautiful.
For the type of game this is, it had ridiculously high amount of effort actually put into the visuals and the cutscenes and things like that. So, like, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, so if you can find it on sale, because I do believe they are sort of getting rid of physical stock of this game at the moment, I would say pick it up if you can, especially for $23. That's a steal. That's a first party Nintendo game, which is the actual mechanic of like firing off the sushi and lining it up and throwing it at your opponent is really great.
Yeah. And I guess just on that point too, like, not to hamp on about pricing, but I mean, we are talking Nintendo games, and it's very easy for someone that comes from the Xbox or the PlayStation realm to be like, seeing these AAA titles go down to $20 or $25. But, for someone that's walking into Nintendo, hey, I've picked up my Switch, I've been away from the Nintendo since the 64 days, prices on Nintendo games are quite fixed. And I guess that's why collectors, hold on to them, because they sort of realize, okay, there is value, or the value retains in these items. So when a game comes up, like, these type of games, and they're published by Nintendo, and, there's some enjoyment out of it, it's $25, $20, happy to pay it when, your standard Nintendo games around about, $69, so.
Absolutely. Mario Tennis Aces, what do you guys think of this one?
I think, sorry to jump in here, but, like, I think I missed the wave on this. This was one I was so keen to pick up. Like, I enjoyed the previous ones on the Wii U, and, like, it was one of those ones where I just wanted to be like, okay, like, I'm keen to, jump on this. Not so much the campaign, because I heard that's not great. It's more of a training bit, but just jump online, because, like, that's a huge part of Nintendo. Nintendo is grabbing your mate. Now in 2019, it's online, versus next door, pushing him away from your next door to you. But like, it's one of those games where I was super keen to play online, but I think I just missed the boat where it seemed to be like everyone sort of in our community that was playing it was red hot as soon as it was out. But then, a month or two down, like, everyone didn't touch it. And I sort of went, I don't really want to play it just for me. And how many people am I going to get on this, unless people are actually going to come physically sit next to me and play with me? So, I'm curious to see what you guys think, whether it's still a definite pickup, if you guys are even still playing it online.
It didn't even feel like it took a couple of weeks for, like, the hype to die down around that game as far as online goes. Like, I remember it being big at launch, and everyone just, maybe because, like, it was just, wasn't much else around it. But I remember it being really big at launch and then just kind of dying down. But, like, as far as the single player, that's mostly what I played. I enjoyed it, but it was over quickly, and it didn't really go any places. Like, it was still very much basic, the tennis gameplay, and didn't really, it didn't really go anywhere there. So, but it's Mario Tennis, and if you want a really good tennis game, Mario Tennis is a good tennis game. It's just was enough to keep me coming back. Like other games, like Splatoon is a game that I always come back to and enjoy a match of. Where Mario Tennis is just like, I don't know whether I'll keep coming back to this always.
Yeah. I think what really killed this game was in the directs and the marketing material, they were showing off the single player, and the fact that was basically going back to the RPG stuff they were doing in the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance versions, where people absolutely love those games. That's pretty much like a meaty RPG within the Mario Tennis game on those games.
Yeah. And
when they were showing off, it's an RPG, you're leveling up, you're doing basically level challenges. people got really excited. And when it came out and it was basically not very good, I think a lot of people went, oh, okay, and just dropped the whole game altogether.
We were spoiled. We were honestly spoiled
Yeah.
because everyone had just been reminded not that long ago because of Golf Story, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, golf!"
Absolutely.
Sports RPGs are back, and they're better than ever. And Mario Tennis is going to deliver the same type of experience, and then it didn't. And so I think that's why. That's where, definitely you're right. There's where the disappointment came from.
But the multiplayer itself is fantastic. I feel like the online modes and everything.
And it's gotten better with more characters, and it just keeps getting better. Like, honestly, it's one of those games that Nintendo really supported.
But in saying that, I dropped it as well because I was still playing Splatoon a lot. I was probably still playing ARMS at that point too. Like, I was still playing a fair few of these games online, let alone the indie games and everything else around it. Like, that's the Switch's biggest probably downfall. It's just too much good stuff. So Mario Tennis sort of took a back seat for me, but I would if you like tennis games, this is Mario Tennis online, or just with bots, or doing the championship cups, or even maybe chipping away at that story mode, which isn't, I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just nowhere near what people were expecting. People were expecting like a proper RPG where you can, like, similar to Golf Story in the previous games in the series.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, definitely I would recommend that if you're into the tennis series. Next up, this isn't a Nintendo published game, and it's not a Nintendo made game, but it is an exclusive I can't see coming to other platforms anytime soon, and that is Octopath Traveler by Square Enix. Just straight away you're looking at the art style, the pixel art style, going back to RPGs of the past in the 90s, and seeing it with that sort of new HD modern flair with the lighting and everything. It looks absolutely stunning. And the fact you can use different travelers, you can choose where you're going to start, and you eventually meet everyone. I really enjoy this game. Haven't finished it. It's a very long game. Guys, what do you think of this one? Should people pick this one up?
Yeah, this reminded me that, like, I still love these type of experiences. Like, part of my brain before this was going, do I just like going back to these experiences because I like that style of game back then, and I feel nostalgic for them. But this here is like they did what the old games did in a new style. Their HD 2D, whatever they call it, and I loved it. I love the art style. I love the gameplay. Obviously you've got to be into slow turn-based JRPGs in the first place. But personally, that's my jam. I love that. So, like, I definitely enjoyed this game. I definitely recommend. The story did fall apart only because everyone was kind of apart. No one really gelled together. And so that I did feel like that took away from the story for me personally. Like, I enjoyed the individual stories, but I would have liked a large overarching story where characters interact with each other a little bit more than that. But apart from that, I really enjoyed it.
I guess like the sort of the aspect where they don't know where you're going to start and they don't know where you're going to finish. Exactly. They can't really, like, say you're going to start with like someone, but by the end you're going to be all friends and you're going to take down the boss, and like they can't predict that. So I guess where that comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, this is, from my point of view, this is one that I definitely wanted to pick up, and I still want to pick up. And as per my other comment, the biggest thing is the time sink. So I know in the back of my mind I'm going to love this game. I played the demo. I love the look of it. I love everything that I played about it. I know that I'm really going to enjoy this game. It's just the fact that to dedicate that amount of time to play through this game, from what people are talking about, how many hours you have to dedicate into this game, I just don't have it. I don't have it now. But it's definitely one of those ones where I will pick it up. I will play it. It's just got to go on that list, and it's got to join the queue. And there's just so many games.
Yeah. Hop in line, Octopath Traveler.
100%. Maybe it's one of those rainy days, but it's got to be a monsoon. It's got to go for a long time.
It's got to be coming down.
It's got to be coming down, 100%.
Yeah. Maybe you'll hope that Nintendo doesn't release another console, so you have the time to catch up, and they say, hey, it's been 10 years, here's the next console.
I'm just taking a lull at the moment, so enjoy the back catalogue. Here we go.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that either, to be honest.
That'd be actually quite
good. Next up is Super Mario Party. Like a lot of the previous Mario Party games, probably since the GameCube, like on the Wii and Wii U, say Mario Party 10 and 9, if people asked, should I pick up this game? I played Mario Party on 64 and GameCube, whatever it might be. Should I get this? Like, you would have to think about it, because those Mario Party games were pretty ordinary. where's this game? If people say, I just got a Switch, should I enjoy Mario Party, I've got friends coming over, should I get this Mario Party? I would say yes, definitely get this Mario Party.
Yep.
It is missing a few, is on the lower end for number of boards and things like that. But I think it makes up for in modes and just the use of the Joy-Con as well. I think it's a lot of fun. What's your experience with the game?
Well, so I actually just played this just a couple of nights ago, and it reminded me that it's a really fun Mario Party game. It definitely captures for me mostly what the old Mario Parties did. But the only thing that I feel that it doesn't do is throw the series forward enough. I love the fact that they're taking the most out of this Joy-Con. A lot of people complain that you could only use the Joy-Con when you first played this, but this game would not be the same game if you had other options there.
Yeah, no.
And so I love that. I think the mini games are great. There's nothing wrong with that. I just would like to see the series move forward but without a car still.
Oh god, yeah.
So let's not drive forward in the car, but I mean, there's other ways that maybe we can catch a plane or something like that. I don't know, but to me, it didn't propel the series forward. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good thing, because Splatoon 2, we gave a salmon run mode, but didn't really propel the series forward at all. And I'm hoping that they can kind of aren't afraid to try something. Not different, but throw something more in there that really makes it enticing in the next Mario Party and make it stand out, because I think that's what this game is missing, just that one thing that makes it stand out.
Yep.
What do you think the Mario Party series needs to do to sort of throw itself forward? For Mario Party, for me, I don't think it has to do too much. It just needs to be a fun party game with a Mario sort of theme.
Yeah, I think they to kind of they need to double down on some aspects. So a Mario Party, it's definitely a really fun Mario party game, but there are people out there who play Mario Party single player. I know that was me when I was growing up, and there's probably a lot of kids out there, so maybe do something they did with Mario Tennis Aces, and they've done with old Mario Parties, where they first of all bring single player aspects into it. So there was, I think it was Mario Party 4, you could eventually collect a whole room for stuff for each character. I would love to see some more of that kind of stuff get in there. The boards, like we said, more boards, but I'd like to see them double down on the creativity of the boards. So it's always really cool to see boards that just do fun and unique stuff that isn't they had night and day modes and other ones and different cool things that happened. And I think Nintendo has it in them to do something really cool with that. I'm not actually sure what it is myself.
Yeah, because I bought this game on launch, and I've played it I've never booted it up by myself. It's always been, we're at PAX and we're out of the bar, and I had my Switch with me, and I said, who wants to play Mario Party? And we played it. We played it while in a busy bar, and it was a couple of nights Bryce has come over and we've been playing, but I haven't really played it a lot just by myself. I don't even know if you like you said, I don't know if you can play it by yourself unless you got the two Joy-Cons in your hands and you're sort of just playing with yourself. No, I did not mean to say that. It's all right.
I'll dig you out of this hole quickly. I think that they, as a last touching point here, the kind of thing that they could get more out of is stuff that they've already kind of touched on, and it's they got more out of the dice. They said basically character dice. Each character has their own dice that does different stuff, and I think that's a clever move to add that kind of diversity and that little bit of strategy into some of the stuff you do. I think throw some more stuff in there like that.
Yep. This was one game that I bought from release, and I was a bit worried too. So I remember playing the original ones on the 64, and there was definitely a period there where I missed between the Wii and the Wii U. But look, at the end of the day, I bought it for one reason. I knew that my kids would enjoy it, and it did. It paid dividends because it for so long, until Minecraft came out with my daughter recently getting into that, it used to be our Saturday morning go-to. So I would have my 3-year-old, 2 at the time, just wake up early mornings and wanting to play Mario Party and play Mario Party. So we're like, okay, so we're off and we're playing Mario Party, and he was the Bowser and Leah was the princess, and it was one of those games where we don't, as a family, I guess, we don't play board games at the moment. So it was really good, as this is an introduction for a young family of young kids to get into board games. The whole taking turns and the mini games and seeing how Leah, who's 6 now, progress. Like, I mean, you start off working out the controls, and now she's like, she's great at it. And it's one of those games that they both play, and I really enjoy. And even when I get friends that come over, we all play. The only issue I would say is that if you do pick up this game and you've only got 2 Joy-Cons, go buy 2 more. Because they only use Joy-Cons, and it was one of the things when we first bought the game. We were like, "Oh, we got friends over, now we play 4 players." No, we can't because we don't have 4 Joy-Cons. So just definitely be aware of that. It doesn't use the Pro controller, and I've had friends in the same boat that thought they could use it, they didn't. But no, it's a great game in that aspect. And I do wish they had more boards. That's probably the biggest one. But yeah, no, it's great, and even to the point there where. Like, we go in there and play the board games, but, if it's just Leah and I, she just wants to do the dancing one. The one that you mimic, mimic the thing. So she doesn't even want to play the board game. She just wants to say, let's do the dancing. Do dancing for 20 minutes. Yeah, we're good. Let's go. We're out the door. So, but, and 20 minutes might turn into an hour. Do you know what I mean? So, let's go to the next level. So there's different, I guess, elements outside the board games. It's got a real focus for kids, but if you don't have the kids, then it's important nostalgia and that party, like Drew said, like just bring it out on a party. You want to play this board game, but different next level. So it's good.
Absolutely. The next one is one I'm really excited about. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Just first off, what did you guys think of this one?
I knew this would come up. I went Pikachu.
Yeah, I went Pikachu as well. Eric, what did you go?
Okay, so I went Eevee, but I'm definitely going to let you take this one away, Drew. I know this is your game.
Oh man, I absolutely love this game. I know it got a lot of criticism because of its more casual approach to the games. It took out items and a few of the things that made the combat a bit more complex in other Pokemon games. Even though Pokemon games have always been pretty easy entry points. I feel like this one is the perfect place to start if you are new to the Pokemon series, or if you're returning to the Pokemon series after maybe since the Game Boy days.
Yep.
Oh yeah, going back to Kanto, absolutely loved it on Switch. It's a really pretty game, seeing everything in 3D again, and yeah, absolutely loved it. Going back to it, I put about, especially the shiny hunting aspects in this. How you can see them in the overworld, so it made shiny hunting a bit more, I guess, easier because you're not just randomly encountering all the time, and the capture combos they introduced and everything about it. There's some of these things I want to see in future Pokemon games, hopefully at the end of this year.
Yeah, for this game, this is all just about nostalgia for me. So I grew up with the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color and playing the red and the blue and the yellow. And then just after that, having a period off and then playing a few of the other games. And the last Pokemon game I played, I'm just looking at it, is probably Pokemon Moon. And look, to be honest, I really enjoy it. And maybe that's because I was too heavily invested on the nostalgia, the original 151. Or I just spent too much time out of Pokemon between there and then. Maybe a combination of both. But what really attracted to me is that you've got this generation, I'm 32, and so it was right in that peak where I was when Pokemon was such massive hype, whether you were watching the cartoon or you're playing the original games, and for them to say, look, think of Pokemon Yellow, but we're just taking it up a notch. We're just going to remaster this to the point where it's going to look absolutely amazing, and you know what, we'll throw this Pokeball in, and it's the 151, and then we'll progress and add on from there on in. So that was, for me, without getting into the Pokemon Go, I didn't add any of that on from my perspective. It was just really good to revisit it and just go, oh, I remember this. How good is this? Just playing through something that, you'd played for, everything sort of just remembering it, getting all those, nostalgia feels and that's a big thing for me, as I mentioned. Nintendo's heavy on nostalgia, and they know that. We as Nintendo fans, we know that. So when they bring out things like this, we're going to buy this because we want to travel down that, because that's what gives us all the warm and fuzzy feelings, you know what I mean? But I had a great time with it. I played through. I'm keen to play through again and do all the shinies. But it was just such a good trip down memory lane.
I really like how they stripped stuff back, so you don't have to worry about some of these things that you might get hung up on if you're playing another Pokemon game, You've got 153 Pokemon in this game because they added the 2 new ones.
Yep.
So you're not worrying about the 800 of them, and you're not worrying about, all right, I've got to get this item and I've got to do the IV training and like all of this stuff which you can get hung up on. I personally like playing the games for years. I'm always thinking about the natures, like when I catch a Pokemon. So what that does, if you a certain nature, it puts up a stat and it puts down a stat. So, say if you're looking for a physical attacker, you might need an adamant Pokemon that puts up attack and down special attack. And that's always in the back of my head. So, when with this game, natures are still there, but it was easier to go, don't worry about it, Drew. Don't worry about it. Just play through the game. Your Pikachu's fine. He might not be the nature you want. You might not get along that well. He might not be jolly, but it's fine. It's fine. He might be a bit slow. It's fine.
It's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay. My Pikachu was
Your Pikachu.
that's what I called him. I called him Pikachu.
I love it. Okay, so I basically echo both your thoughts, even the Pikachu part.
Especially the Pikachu part.
Especially that. The main thing that I'd like to add is that this makes me excited for the future of like games like this and games like Link's Awakening. Excited for the future of the history of Nintendo, because like just seeing these old games come back in either like recreated ways or just either in reimaginings, or even if they're like Link's Awakening, which seems to be quite true to the original. These just seem to be really great ways to play these old games, and I just want every single game to come back in all these different ways.
Yeah,
definitely. Like just these Game Boy games being remade. It's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
Game Boy's getting some love on the Switch. I love it. Next up is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Why don't you have this already? That's the question I've got to ask. Oh man, I was looking forward to this game, and for the most part, it lived up to hype. I absolutely love it. It's such a fun. What do you guys think of Smash Ultimate? Like, I don't know what we can say if it hasn't been said before about this game around the internet, but just. You can see the amount of effort that's gone into it, all the characters and just everything about it.
It's hard
Perfect
to say
party
something.
Game.
Yeah, it's hard to say something right now because the game is so fresh in everyone's mind, and so it's like you said, there's been so much said about it right now that it's hard to bring up anything new without just kind of repeating points. But it's just a fantastic party fighting game. Smash always has been. This one is the best one yet, in my opinion, anyway. And I'd love it. Like I love having this massive roster of nostalgic characters to just play through and battle through. So it's just definitely a pickup. They did a really good job with. I know you're a bit upset about the trophies, Drew, but I think they did just in the single player itself did a really good job of that. It made a single player mode that is just more content rich than ever.
For sure. Yeah, I was disappointed the trophies were missing, but it does have a great single player mode. And there are other modes missing, which is like, the stage builder and other things. I'm like, where is this? This was in the last 2 iterations of the game, but I've got a feeling that them teasing 3.0, the update, will be like them saying, there is a bit more to this update than, say, the last update. So maybe that might mean the reintroduction of some of these modes. Don't know.
There's got to be a reason they teased it. You tease it if you don't have that much.
Like when I was talking to the Nintendo guru about it, he said, "Oh yeah, it's probably just like an update." So like shit, I've lost my train of thought. But just readjusting the roster. But it does have to be more than that, because why would you tease like 3.0 is coming? It's like, Link doesn't do as much damage with his forward A now. It's like, yes!
There's no point to tease that. Like you said, Nintendo, it's not like they're not known to do small updates like they do with the Switch. They literally give it a whole new number and don't add that much new to it. Like maybe a couple of characters in the selection screen. Not talking about Smash or the Switch. Anyway, but with Smash and the fact that they put it in a Direct and they showed something about it, there's got to be something there. I mean, I know they want to sell Smash and they're probably just trying to throw a reminder out there, hey, buy Smash, but I think they have a little bit more to it there, and we'll see when that actually comes out.
Yeah. Just coming back to, I guess, to the, should you pick up this game, who should be picking up this game? I like you guys, I love this game. I've already had 2, groups of parties, nights where I've just had people just come around and just have all the Pro Controllers and the Joy-Cons out and just go for it. And we've all had a great time. We've spent hours and hours playing this. So it's such a good one to play with your mates, shoulder to shoulder next year. I've even had mates that haven't played it for years. And, whilst, the levels have gotten bigger and everything's sort of moving around. And sometimes, I guess, for someone that hasn't played it for a long time, there's a lot of things going on in some of these levels. But they've quickly, jumped on. They've had a great time. I've even played like online sessions with a few of the other guys from 8-Bit and the boys at a couple of NPCs and jumped online. And it's so fun. It's just a fun game.
Yeah,
definitely. And the one thing that they make you grind for is those characters. Like, I don't know about you guys, I haven't unlocked all the characters yet because I find that I'm like, Kirby's my go-to, so I go to Kirby and I try and get as good as I can out of Kirby, and then I want to try another character. So I'll grind until I get that character, or grind or hack, or do however you want to get your character.
Yep.
And then until I get that character, and then I'm playing that character for a while. So I haven't got them all yet. I know there's a few funny videos out there on YouTube about people like, whether they like it or not like, the grind for all the characters, or, how it gets harder trying to get all the characters, and, they get a chance to, they get King K. Rool, or they want to get King K. Rool, and he comes up and absolutely wipes the floor with them, and they're like, oh, great, here I go again, how many characters until I get him again. But it's just awesome. It's just a fun game.
Do keep in mind that you can re-challenge characters by going to Games and More and going to the gate icon.
Okay.
And that just... Basically, when you lose to one, it just lines them all up and you can verse them all in a row.
Oh, okay.
So, if you didn't know that, that's where all your characters you've lost against are. You've got to go back.
Cool.
You've got to go back there. Yeah.
Good to know, as opposed to me just grinding. I was just doing the whole, fingers crossed bit.
And I will just say, if you're new to Nintendo and the Switch, Smash Bros. Is a fantastic game to pick up to get familiar with some of these characters which you might not know. So you'll know Mario, you might have played Breath of the Wild, so Link and Zelda, Ganon, but like, who's Little Mac? You might play as him, sort of discover some of his history from the NES days and the arcade days, and there's just obviously the Fire Emblem characters. That's where a lot of them got known in this series.
If you're coming from other consoles too, you might even just recognise some, like, who knows, you might recognise Snake. You might be like, oh, well, I've played the Metal Gear games on, whatever.
Yeah.
So
On your PlayStation and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fantastic game. You've got to get it. You've got to get it, guys. Unless you're like, I hate fighting games and I can't play them, but even then, this is a great place to start, because I'm not a big fighting game guy either. But
because even if you don't have it, someone else is going to have it on a Switch. And one day, you're going to go around to someone's house and they're going to throw you a Joy-Con and you're going to catch it and you're going to play it. And so it's just one of those ones that you'll enjoy it, and you will definitely come across it, whether it be through family or friends. Someone's going to have it and you're definitely going to play it. So it's a great game.
Play Smash unless you hate fun.
And yes, audience, Dane was threatening you. Pick up Smash. Next up is a game I've got no idea about, except for a video Eric done on his channel, which is fitness boxing.
Oh.
Can you tell us much about fitness boxing? Apart from your video, I don't know. I've never played it.
I'm glad you brought this up. This was on my list of things that I'm going to bring up that no one will expect. Fitness boxing is actually a really cool fitness game. And here's the thing, is that the Switch is really lacking of fitness games. Because at the moment, like, if you're not playing fitness boxing, you might be playing Just Dance, and other than that, you're not really doing anything that's more than just, swinging your arms and arms or something like that. And so fitness boxing kind of finally brought a fitness game onto the Switch. And it's actually a decent game. Is it a Wii U, what is it called? Wii Fit replacement? Not really. Like, it misses some of the features. Like, obviously, when you don't have a balance board, you can't take your weight. There's some fun mini games that can kind of come out of that. But as far as the game, like, if you're willing to commit yourself to actually just doing the boxing part of it, which is all it really is, just to get fit, it's fantastic. And it has a tracker that'll track, like, how many calories you're averagely burning. It'll make sure you're posting a stamp on each day of the week type thing. And I tell you what, right now, it's been working really well for Nat. Like, Nat has been playing this game every day basically since it's come out. Like, seriously, on a side note, so proud of her. She's just doing absolutely awesome, like, sticking to this game. And she's seen the results. Like, it's really, really working for her. And so, like, if you're after a fitness game on the Switch, and you have a little bit of a commitment in that body of yours, commit to this game.
It's a bit more like a rhythm game, is it?
It kind of is. So, like, it's basically there's got to be movement. So depending on which one that comes up on the screen, it might just be a straight punch. It might be like I forget what all the names are now. It's like a curve punch, and then there's like an uppercut. But then they start to put in dodges and other things that you got to do as well. And so you're just doing a lot of movement to almost do a rhythm. And there's like obviously there's targets you got to hit, so like you're trying to punch to the beat and punch when the targets come up. But at the end of the day, you're trying to hit those targets, and you do, but like it's not like you have to go for that high score or something like that. You're just trying to do as well as you can, and it's more about you're there to really get some sort of fitness out of this game. If you're looking for fun in this game, look somewhere else, because like it's fun in a way that it'll give you a way to be at home and do a physical activity that's gaming and lose weight, but it's not going to be fun as in like, oh, should I play Mario Party or should I play fitness boxing? Because you should just play Mario Party.
Yeah. It's good to see Nintendo's bringing back the fitness, because they were so heavy with it with regards to the Wii. Like there was a period there where they just brought out so much, and obviously there was this big market for it. So no, that's good.
There's a huge market there, and I can't believe like that they haven't tapped into it more. It's unbelievable. This is the first game that's really tapped into that fitness market, whether Nintendo or not. On the Switch, there is a market there, and it's big, and like, you know, you can see it with people that attach to this, and it's like, you know, because not everyone can or wants to get out of their home to do fitness. Some people, and the good thing about fitness boxing as well is that you don't, like, technically, you know, if you're not the type of person that maybe you can't get up or you can't move around, you know, as much, and you just have mobility in your arms, you can still play this game. It doesn't require you to be dancing and jumping around if you don't want to, you know? And so, yeah, I think it's a really good fitness game.
Yeah, cool.
So, if you want to jump around on your Switch, there you go. And there is a demo available,
yes,
too, if you want to give it a go. I wouldn't mind giving it a try, because it does sound interesting. I like sort of the idea of the more rhythm sort of gameplay. So last of all, guys, I just want to lump the Wii U ports together. Obviously, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a must-buy for all Switch owners, unless you like I really don't like arcade racing games. Well, fair enough. Put your hands up and you go, all right, it's fine.
Have you ever met anyone that's not, like a Nintendo fan, a really big Nintendo fan, but just doesn't like Mario Kart?
I've heard a couple on podcasts here and there, but yeah, not many.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool.
50% of, or like just under 50% of people don't own Mario Kart on their Switch. So I don't know what they're doing.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I
thought it was just a staple.
Yeah, you think so, but yeah, like was it 54% or something like that actually own it?
It's got a huge install base for the amount of people who have picked it up. Well, the attach rate, yeah,
okay,
just crazy. Yeah, so definitely pick up this on the Wii U. This game was amazing.
Yep,
just such a good Mario Kart game. It really shows that how successful the Mario Kart series is, because no other publisher can put the amount of money and energy into this type of game that Nintendo can. So the polish really shows on Mario Kart 8.
Yep. No, it's a great game.
Yeah,
I love Mario
and everything
Karts.
they added too was fantastic. Like being able to use 2 items now, and what else they add? They added a lot, but
Link.
Oh, sorry, Eric. What'd you say?
I said Link. I'm just being silly.
Oh, silly, Eric. God. Pokken Tournament. I picked this up on the Wii U. I didn't pick it up on the Switch because I didn't need it again. But if you're into sort of a more Tekken, well, it is made by the guys who made Tekken. If you're into that type of gameplay and you like Pokemon, this is almost a no-brainer. If you've got the time when you're not playing Smash Brothers. What else we got here? We've got Bayonetta 1 and 2. I would definitely recommend those two, especially Bayonetta 2. Really impressive game. I've got to say, I haven't finished it, so maybe I'll get to the end boss and I'll be like, no, this game's rubbish, but who knows. And Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze. Awesome game as well. I would definitely recommend picking that up if you're into the 2D platforming Donkey Kong games. Just quickly, what do you guys think on that one?
I love Donkey Kong Club. These Return and Tropical Freeze are fantastic games. And yeah, like if you like platformers, I think these are at the heart, like they're the harder end of platformers, but they do more with them. So like comparing this to the one we're sure will come up next is New Super Mario Bros. U. Like these are harder, but yeah, they're more experimental with their design and their levels and things like that. And so you're just going to go with what you want to go with.
Yeah, no, I'll be definitely keen to pick it up, but it's just a matter of just when do you pick it up. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, again, there's too much choice.
I haven't picked it up on Switch either, but yeah, have it on Wii U. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, we'll jump into Super Mario Bros. U then. What are you guys thinking of that one?
It's fun. I don't know why I said that like with a question mark. It's fun. It's like I kind of said, it's really if you're tossing up between this and Donkey Kong, you just got to decide where your challenge at, what some people just prefer Mario Brothers as a platformer, and this does a good job of that. It adds in the multiplayer aspect, and it can get frustrating because you bump into other players, so you can bump each other off the edge, which I know that can get really frustrating. But apart from that, it's a fun Mario platformer, and you just know what you're expecting and what you're getting into with these type of games.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So this is so I got a question on this one here. So I haven't played this one, but my daughter is obsessed with, on the Nintendo Wii U, the Super Mario the Cat one. So Super Mario World,
Super Mario 3D World, yeah,
3D World, yep. So she loves it. That was her go-to for so long, just before she found Paint Splash. So is it something? Are they very similar, or is this something that if she's really into that one, this is a definite pickup?
I wouldn't say definite, honestly, but only because 3D World really did creative things. It went places with its levels. It was a big fun experience. The music was better than ever, and it was 3D. I guess that was the main catch. Where this one hits a 2D angle, but it's hard to say whether she would love it or not. I think you're right. The 3D aspect was the biggest point that she could explore, just that exploration. Because even the original ones, that the left to right Marios. There's an attraction there, but she just really hasn't caught on. But yeah, this 3D, it was just something to that aspect of it that she just fell in love with. So
there's something about the 2D plane as well, where you find yourself bumping into each other and jumping on each other's heads and making yourself fall into bottomless pits and lava a lot more than 3D World did. 3D World was a lot better, and sort of you can explore the space yourself and enjoy it that way. Whereas I feel whenever I play at least 2-player with New Super Mario Bros, it's just frustrating. I don't really enjoy it that much.
Yeah, put it that way. If there's one game that I always if you're choosing between the two, the one that I always recommend is 3D World, even though you can't get on Switch yet. But when you can, that'd be the one I recommend. And so it's hard to recommend if you like that one to definitely play the next one.
Yeah. Hopefully 3D World does come to the Switch, because that'll be a phenomenal Switch game.
Hopefully. Definitely pick that one up.
With its multiplayer, yeah. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I love this game. This was one I didn't get on Wii U, and I got it on the Switch and absolutely loved it. Going around sort of all the levels, collecting all the stuff, especially now with the DLC, both paid and free coming out, making it 2-player makes it a lot more enticing game to pick up.
Yeah, echo those thoughts. Captain Toad is a really, really awesome game. The fact that they got so much out of a game where you can't jump is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's better than ever now since they've had the extra DLC coming. They have the 2 players. It's just a definite pickup.
Is this one you've played, Dane? Or?
No, it's not. And it's one of those ones where I've sort of thrown it around because I like the strategic part of it. But no, I just haven't had the attraction nor the pricing. Because I don't think it's come down in price. It's still full price, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still full price. It's
so I don't think at this point in time, it's a definite pickup for me.
I think now with the multiplayer, being able to play with your daughter and your kids might be maybe an angle that might encourage you to pick it up, because I think it will be a lot of fun playing it. I'm thinking about playing it with my girlfriend, who really isn't into video games at all. I think it might be just a chill, hey, there's a collectible up there, can you walk and get it? I'll go and unlock this door, and sort of just do it's pretty casual. There's no time limit. There's just don't bump into the Goomba type of thing. That's pretty much the stress level you're working with.
If we can bounce off that 3D World angle that we were going off before, if we're going between this and New Super Mario Brothers U, I'd recommend this, because this definitely is these levels, the Captain Toad levels, were in Super Mario 3D World, so you kind of know if she enjoyed those, and that it was your daughter, right? Then she'll definitely she would probably enjoy the full Captain Toad experience as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, might be one we'll definitely have to look into.
In 3D World, though, it never stood out to me as oh, this is cool. I sort of just oh yeah, there's this Toad level, and I sort of did it, got the star. Cool. But when they did the full game, I'm wow, they really elevated this idea to make it really unique and different.
Yeah.
They definitely took it to another level.
Yeah, it definitely did take it to another level. Level 2. I don't know if I'm missing any Wii U ports, but I think that's it. Anything you guys can think of the top of your head? I don't think...
No, I don't think so.
All right, well, before we move on to third-party and indie games, I'd like to just sort of discuss the online service and sort of whether people should be picking this up. So if you're not into indie games, if you're not into sort of online games, do you reckon this is worth picking up for the Tetris 99 and the NES game subscription?
Oh, that's a hard sell there. Tetris 99 is really awesome. And NES games, they are what they are. You know, if you'd like NES games, and if you want to go back and play them. But like, is these two, like, if you're not into the actual online part of it, worth the $20? Tetris 99 isn't really worth $20. It's a fun Tetris experience, but I don't know if it's worth $20. And then, like, as I said, with the NES, you've just got to make up your own mind. Do I want to have NES games on my latest console? Yes or no? And then go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like $30 isn't a great deal of money. Like when you comparison to look at that, and it's just a nice throwback. Like I've probably played more the original Mario's on it. Played a tennis a couple of times, and more recently the Kirby game. So, I'm onto it. I jumped on originally for the online for two reasons. One, so I can play multiplayer because I've got to play that Mario Kart online. Plus Super Smash Bros. But two as well is that as a collector, you know, I saw those old NES controllers for the Switch, and like that really had me. So I was sort of like, oh, I'm keen for these as well. And look, by the way, they're awesome too. But I mean, like, not required. They're just a bit of a throwback. But yeah, for $30, it's just nice to have. I haven't used the online voice service. I have heard it's a bit here or there, but I'm happy using just Discord with that one there.
Yeah, I am too. I used the voice chat back when it launched with Splatoon. They brought it out, and it was a mess back then. You couldn't even lock your phone. Like if you lock your phone, it just like cut it off. So you had to have the screen lit up all the time, and that was pretty ordinary. But it's been patched in that since then. But I haven't gone back to that. But for $30 Australian, I think it is worth being able to use that NES library. I was really impressed with the app, how you can play it online. So people, like, you can be playing the original Mario Bros. And you can be at your house. You could be just watching your friend play, and you're talking to them. Like, you might be talking crap, like you usually do. You might be talking about the game. Then they die, and it automatically swaps the controller to your controller. Then you're playing through it. So it's sort of like you're both sitting on the couch enjoying a game like you would back in the early 90s.
Yeah,
and I thought that was really clever how they're sort of using these NES games as like a online couch as such.
Yeah. Minus a cord.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. And now with Tetris 99, figure $30 a year. I think Tetris 99 is so much fun jumping into it, being able to do like, you know, the Battle Royale Tetris style, how you're trying to knock each other out and get to the number one position. I think that alone sort of makes it a bit more like half worth it.
Yeah.
And of course, with the online side of things, if you want to play Splatoon, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, you need this thing anyway. So
yeah,
value is so hard. Like, honestly, with this type of stuff, it's like, because value is different to everyone, and so like to me, that's worth the $30 because like I enjoyed Tetris online. I don't mind playing some NES games on my Switch. I want to go online sometimes, so $30 is a no-brainer for me. The cloud saves are like they're nice to have, and so like as $30 to me is like, yeah, this I'm willing to throw that at them a month, but here's the other thing is that then you also get the people point of view that like, well, I don't like the NES games, or I don't go online, and then all of a sudden your $30 is like, well, I'm not getting much for my $30. So I think it's just really up to people to kind of go, what value, here's what I'm actually getting out of it. Is this worth $30 to them?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's true. I am enjoying the Tetris 99. I still haven't got a chicken dinner yet. I think the closest I've come is 14th. Like, and I've played this a fair bit. Right. I just can't work out the strategy. I need to watch a few more videos as to like the strategic side of thing with using like the attack and random and KOs and things like that. I have put it out there on the Twitter and got some good comments and feedback. And Jamie came to me with a tweet with a few bits of advice. I know he's a listener of the podcast, which was great. Implementing those, but I'm certainly still waiting for that number one. I've heard a few people get like quite a few of them. I'm thinking, I don't know how you're doing it, but keep grinding.
The best I've gotten is 3. That's my record.
Wow.
Now.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
And like, I think I was like halfway. I'm like, oh, I'm doing well. Like, trying not to get stressed out. Then like, they add more lines, and you stuff one up, and you block it, so you can't get the Tetris. You're like, God damn it! Then bam, it's over.
Yeah.
So close, but so far. Well, what's your best in it, Eric?
I've got number 1.
That's right. Yeah, you said that on Twitter. Yeah. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Good job.
I booted it up last night because I took a picture for Instagram, and I'm like, oh well, I've started the game now. I better do a match, and I came second. And second is just the worst feeling. It's just like, oh my god, one away from first. Close. Yeah, you feel like it's snatched away from you.
I wouldn't know. I haven't got second yet.
Yeah. Hold on, I haven't finished rubbing it in yet.
The first game I actually had, I got 8th. I'm like, wow. Then like the next one, I might have got 20th or something, and it kind of fluctuates depending on your luck and what you're doing.
It's a lot of luck,
Yeah.
isn't it? In Tetris 99, there's a lot of luck of like, did I get a lot of people targeting me, or did I like get lucky and just, or like the blocks come down in the right way that I wanted them to? I don't know. It's Tetris.
People have gotten so much better now too. I noticed it's way harder getting in the top 10. It's
People
so
are getting
much
better
harder.
and better. That's the
Games
problem.
go a lot longer too. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tetris 99, I think it has made the value and proposition of this subscription a lot better. And hopefully they keep adding stuff like this, like exclusive online games you can just jump into and play.
This is my wish, that they just continue expanding on this, because it'll make the value so much. Imagine if they just added 6 games, so once every 2 months. You've got 6 games a year for $30, and if they're all right games like this, then hats off.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the SNES library too, because definitely SNES was, that was my console. That and the 64 were my 2 consoles, so they're like my most favorite consoles. The Super Nintendo was definitely it, so it just brings back a lot of nostalgia, and I'd love to just have a library and build on it. I'd definitely get excited.
Yeah, for sure. So, guys, we'll move on to the indie/third-party discussion now. So, I'll start off with a game I would recommend, and I actually had these guys on last week, the Reverie. I really enjoyed this game. It's sort of a Zelda-inspired game where you're going through dungeons. There's an overworld, and it's quite a short game. It's about probably... The developers were actually saying people finished it in 3 to 4 hours. Most likely you won't finish it that quick. I certainly haven't. It'll probably last you from the 6 to 10 hour time range. So it's a quicker game, so you can get through it, do the puzzles, explore the overworld, collect the things, talk to the NPCs. The writing's really witty and everything. And I think it's a great game to sort of pick up. It's relatively cheap. It's under $20. And you'll get your fix within the 10 hours. And we were talking before how it's hard to find the time for some of these games. And this is a perfect game to really come in and play. So I definitely recommend that. Yeah,
no, I'm definitely keen to see this. I know you did the episode and keen to dive into that as well. But I looked at the trailer, and it just looks right up my alley. That pixel 2D art. I just love that sort of game. So, and like retro is really where I'm at the moment. After 2018, I was just in love with all these indie games. And 2019 is just going to be the same. So I just want to make more of an effort in putting in my catalogue of the 2Plays, all these indie games that are out there, because I think the Switch is definitely a platform where, people are talking about this is an amazing game. How good would it be on the Switch? And that just seems to be just such a common statement that you hear now. And with these all available on the online store, definitely making more of a commitment to play these games through. And that's definitely on the list, that one.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll move on to Eric. What's first on your list?
I'm going to kick it off with Battle Chef Brigade. This is one that actually came out like in December, at the end of the first year of the Switch. And I've got it here because it's one that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, and I thought it was just a really unique experience. You're basically playing Iron Chef. So you're cooking a bunch of meals. It's done through a puzzle mechanic, so like a little... almost Connect 3 type puzzler that's underneath the pans that you're cooking on. But then the key is that to get the ingredients and put the bubbles or whatever you want to call them into the pots, you have to run out into the field and kill some monsters in some 2D combat, and then bring their parts back in to cook with. And then I try to cook the meals that the judges wanted, and to top that whole thing off, it has a really nice, enjoyable story that just kind of is heartwarming and fun to play through, and it just took me through the entire game, and that's why I loved it. Awesome.
Yeah, I checked out the review you done on your YouTube channel a while back.
I reviewed that, didn't I?
You talked about this on Nintendo by Numbers, the podcast, a fair bit as well, and I didn't get around to picking it up. It was one of those, I've already said this a lot of times already, but it was one of those situations. I was playing something else, so I didn't get around to it. But I love the idea, how it sort of merges these different genres together, where you sort of go out, sort of a hack and slash 2D game, and you come back and do like a match 3 puzzle game. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's just a really unique game, and it's definitely something like, if you want something unique, just hits my list of unique games.
Yeah, it is in my wish list. I'm keen to get it when it's on sale or something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. What about you, Dane? What's next on your list?
So next on my list, so as a recommendation, I would definitely it's going to be a no-brainer for me. It's Celeste. So if anyone hasn't played Celeste yet, it came out in 2018, and it's this amazing pixel art 2D type platformer. You play as a character named Madeline, and you're effectively climbing this mountain. The mountain's called Celeste. But the backstory, the art style, the the music, the soundtracks is so good. I did an episode with Buddy Watson on my podcast, Pushing Through Blue. And I guess the game on another aspect touches on mental health as well, which just adds to, I guess, the depth of this game. It's touched so many people's hearts and gave them that another experience to gameplay. So there's so much involved in this, and I think it's sort of it definitely I had no sort of expectations with this game. It came out of nowhere for me. Buddy sort of, whilst not knowing the story, he sort of knew the previous style of games that had come from Matt Max Games, the Canadian group that developed the game. But yeah, so it definitely hit all the feels and all the gameplay emotions with me. I loved it, and it's one of those ones where it's definitely got replayability. You can play through the campaign, then you can go back, and it does get a lot harder, and there's different aspects that you can go back and opens up new levels and all different aspects of the game. So that's fantastic. So I definitely recommend Celeste if you haven't played it already. That's a digital version only, unless you bought it through limited run recently. But yeah, digital only. I think it's around about maybe $30, but it's definitely worth the full price. It does come on sale sometimes. The other one that I'm playing through now, which I definitely recommend, is called Hollow Knight. So that was released back in 2017. That's actually the developers are based here in Australia, South Australia.
Yeah, South Australia.
That's
South
Team
Australia
Cherry.
represent. Yeah,
absolutely, 100%, Drew. Look, that's just an amazing game. So again, it's this 2D platformer with a really depth story, and it's one of those ones where it's like an environmental storytelling. So there's so much of the storytelling that comes from, I guess, the music, the atmosphere, the design on these levels, and I guess you come across as this sort of like mysterious hero that approaches, I guess, this underworld type. They call it Hollow Nest, and it's like this there's multiple cities of like these insects that you basically just get lost, and there's this massive discovery aspect, I guess, of the game, and you work your way through finding new areas, and it's all about exploring. And you go in there with your bare basics. You can jump, and you can basically wield this. I think it's called a nail. It's basically like a sword. And then through the game, as you discover new areas, you unlock new abilities, and you slowly start getting more powerful, and then you can interchange different abilities. It's just like so much depth in this game. It is a longer game. It's quite a big game. If you're a completionist, wow, I mean, like, you're gonna have fun with this one, because it is, the campaign itself is a big game. But then Team Cherry have like been so great, and they've offered these 4 free DLCs onto it as well. So like, if you finish the campaign, then you can go back and play these 4 add-on DLCs for free. And just watch the trailer and maybe see a spoiler-free review, because it's awesome. Yeah. And like playing these games, and this is definitely the game where I'm playing at the moment, and I don't want to buy any other game until I finish this game. And it's one of those ones where something else has come out and I've put it down, and then with the new sequel coming out, I can't remember if it's this year or next year, but it's only just been recently announced that it's going to be coming out. Like, this is just got me back to just saying, right, I just want to finish this game. It's great. I'm enjoying it, and if anyone else wants to check it out, like, you'll love it too, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, it's crazy how they're only charging $18 Australian for this.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not overly expensive.
Really cheap.
And it's won all these awards, and it's so good. And I guess that's what I'm liking about these indie games as well. Like, the pricing of them, it's not your Nintendo pricing. It's, you average between $20 and $30. Some of them you can get quite cheap. I think I picked up Undertales, which is another one that I really want to get into. I think I picked that up last night for about maybe $13.
Oh wow! Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, and Blossom Tales was another one that I'm halfway through, and like, that's a real, that's a real kickback to the Zelda Link to the Past Awakenings, or like the Link's Awakenings inspired games. Just something that you can just really dive into, and it's so refreshing that you've got all these sort of indie games that are coming out, that it only takes this like one indie game or this selection of indie games that sort of makes you second guess whether you were going to buy these AAA games. It was always just about which AAA game is going to be the biggest, which one's got the biggest budget, which one's going to be like put the biggest hype. But like any movie, you got this Michael Bay movie that's got all the explosions and everything, this massive budget. Doesn't mean the Michael Bay, Transformers movie is going to be better than this indie movie
absolutely.
over here that, you know,
Yeah.
that's got the story and the soundtrack and everything that really takes you on a journey. And I think what we're finding is that we're just getting these indie games coming through that are doing that, just taking you on this journey, and you're just like, man, like you're spoiled almost.
It's like you can get Mario Tennis or you can get 5 indie games, which are all phenomenal. Like it's
Exactly, 100%. Yeah, yeah.
So next on my list is Old School Musical. This was a $20 game at launch. Not sure what it is now. I looked at the screenshots in the eShop. I had no idea what it was before I bought it, and I'm like, oh, it's a rhythm game. Awesome. It's in the 8-bit style, and you basically play as these two characters. One, they're both brothers. I've forgotten their names at the moment, but one is like a little square and one's a larger rectangle, and the larger rectangle is like the younger brother. That's the joke, but the older brother's the shorter one. And basically, their mum disowned them, so they're traveling through all these dimensions to find their mum. Like, it's a really silly story. It's really ridiculous, and they're going through all these worlds, and they're basically throwbacks to old video games.
Cool.
So the first world's like based on the graphics of Pokemon, and you're playing in the there's no combat, but it's like you play through like songs. There might be like 3 each world when you move on to the next world, and there's a world based on Mega Man, Ninja Turtles, Mario, Zelda, like it, and the story it's really wacky. Like it's so much fun. I love this game, especially since it's one of those games where I just looked on the eShop and I said, "Hey, what's this?" Oh, like, because I absolutely love my rhythm games on handhelds. That was one of my favorite things to do on my Vita. I loved like the Persona rhythm games and the Hatsune Games. Absolutely love like the sort of button combination type gameplay. So playing this on my Switch was awesome. Having it from an indie developer, having great chiptune music from indie musicians, and sort of like seeing how they took on like a parody of Mega Man and Zelda and things. It was really cool, and by the time I finished the story, I was just laughing. Like, there's a big smile on my face. It's just so silly, and it's a cheap game. It's 20 Australian. Don't know if it's been on sale or whatever in the meantime, but yeah, definitely add it to your wish list. It's a phenomenal rhythm game to play.
Awesome. I do like the rhythm games. The Taiko game. Are you into those, Drew? The Taiko drum games.
I was so excited for Taiko Drum Master.
Me too.
I played the PS2 version and all that, but I've got the demo. I enjoy the Joy-Cons are fun to play with, but it's not responsive enough to play with, and the buttons for the drums just aren't fun because there's only 2 buttons, because it's like the rim of the drum and the actual drum itself. And I was really keen to pick up the actual drum peripheral. I would have, but I just couldn't find it. It wasn't in Australia. You had to go to somewhere like Play Asia and whatever, and it was like $150 plus, and they want shipping. And it's a $200 controller. I'm like, ooh.
Yep.
And I want it so bad. I would have paid $100. I would have paid $130. Maybe not close to $200.
Yeah, yeah. And I was in the same boat as you. As soon as I saw it, and I saw it was going to be released on the Switch, I was all over that, and I was jumping on the net trying to find a bundle where you can get the drum. And like you said, you just couldn't find it. And I did download the demo on the Switch. Really enjoyed it, but knew like the drum was the big piece that I wanted to have.
Yeah.
I did find it, like you said, through Play Asia. It was quite expensive, and that sort of just started making me think, you know, what happens if, because it is the Switch, and you are literally putting the Joy-Cons into it, what happens if there is going to be this delay? Because when I played the demo, and I did do it via the Joy-Cons, as in like the motion Joy-Cons, I did find that there was a delay, and I thought, well, maybe this is going to translate into the drum. Whereas, you know, previously, I'd actually played it, you know, via the PlayStation, and, you know, with the corded, and it was all very much like accurate, you know, obviously with it reactive. So like, so it was just one of the ones where I'm holding off, and I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to buy it without the drum or, I'm not sure. But it's too expensive with the drum, and I still got doubts about the responsiveness
It's funny
of it.
that we're all in the same situation now. I was just in the same boat. Like, I looked online, I'm like, no, I'm not paying that price for it, and I'll wait. And now it's to the point where it's like, I've waited long enough. I don't know if I'm going to end up getting
And what
it.
was so disappointing about it was that like Vooks and Press Start and a few of these Australian sites were like, Bandai Namco and Nintendo have announced the drum is coming to Australia. Oh, sweet, awesome. I'm checking EB Games. Nah. Check again. Nah. But it's like, it just never came. Okay. That's the worst bit about it. Oh.
And I found even on that, I think JB Hi-Fi had it, like you could pre-order it as just the game. And then as soon as it came out, it's gone. You couldn't find it online. And then EB Games had it online, just the game, obviously. You jump on there now and it just says find it in store. So, and I think online, Online it is more expensive, and I think it's around about that $90 mark. So
it is on the
it's
eShop too. It's $90.
Yeah, $90 on the
Yeah.
eShop. So I was just like, oh,
Very expensive
jeez.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like more expensive. Well, it's the same price as Super Smash Brothers, but like the Switch version is cool because it does have like songs from Kirby, Splatoon, and a few Nintendo themes in there, which is cool.
Yep. Yep.
Man, I'd be all about that game. I just need the drum. I'll play that forever, honestly. Because like I'm a drummer as well, so like just the actual like responsiveness of actually hitting something, is awesome.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Because there was a retro section at AvCon last year, and they had like the PS2 set up, and I saw the Taiko Drum Master drummer. Oh, I want to sat there for like an hour just like playing these old songs. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. Definitely, if I get over to Japan too, that's probably one of the first things I want to do. I just want to find one of those the big arcade official ones, and just go to town on it.
Like you see those crazy videos where people are like doom doom doom.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like it's almost like that same culture where like you see in Japan, and even like here, like I remember when I don't know, I was 16 and like our time zone had one of those the dancing machines.
Yeah,
and there's always that one guy out the front of the movies that you could just see mate, he was there Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. That's where all his coin went, and he was an absolute pro. To the point there where like he would just love people to come up and watch him play. And you can watch these YouTube videos, and it's the same. Like, these dancing games have just gotten bigger and better. And the drum games, there's no, like, I've got friends that go over to Japan once a year, and they say that they see people bring their own sticks to play these games.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? Okay, they've got their own sticks, and they're just heavy into it, hey? So I want to get involved.
Yeah, definitely. Bring more rhythm games to Switch, please.
Yeah, 100%.
I love them. Like, I want to see these games which found a home on Vita come over the Switch. Like those Persona games that are on Vita in Japan and PlayStation 4 here. I would love to see them sort of migrate them way to the Switch because they're a lot of fun. Eric, what's next on your list, dude?
I think I'm going to sum up my list here. I've got a few more, but the one that I really want to jump into is probably Golf Story. This came out like early in the Switch's life as well, and because of that, there wasn't a whole lot else around to play, and so I really got to sink some time into Golf Story, and I just loved it. I loved every second of this. I know, again, we mentioned Jamie earlier, but Jamie's been playing this a little bit, and it's just a really, really fun RPG in the in sports. And RPG and sports marry really well together, apparently, as I found out. I actually hadn't played any of the old Mario Golf titles or anything before this one, so I didn't know what like everyone was going on about before going into this. And then I found like how awesome this game actually is, and like it just, I fell in love with it instantly. The aesthetic of the pixel art aesthetic is just great. The way they play with the dialogue and the people in the town and everything like that, I think that all works really well, and you can feel the little bits of Australia dripping out of it. So I just think it's a really cool game.
Yeah, this is definitely on my list to try.
Yeah, it's on my list to try as well. I didn't think I would enjoy the actual golf gameplay, but like all the writing and everything surrounding it seems right up my alley. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing with these indie games too. Like the story plays such a big role in it. Whether it's, it can be funny or it can just like continue you going from start to finish and drive you through some of these games and just add to the overall enjoyment of it. So yeah, story's huge, but that's definitely on my list. I've also got I got The Messenger, I got Dead Cells, I got Wargroove, Shovel Knight's on there. Like there's so many of these indie games I want to play, and I just want to dedicate it. I just want to go, right, this one, finish it. Next one, this one, finish it. And that's like when we're talking about these first-party titles, like, it's so hard sometimes because you're just looking at these indie games and you're just like, I just love them. And I just want to keep going to that one, to that one, to that one, to that one. And, if you're time poor, then all these other games just get left behind type bit, so...
Yeah, for sure. Like Dead Cells, that was a real... That one surprised me a lot, just how fun the combat was. Like it's still a 2D game, but just how much fun it is to sort of do the combos and just hack the crap out of your enemies. It's
it looks so good.
Really surprised me. Yeah, so I'll like to touch on Blossom Tales, which you said about before, Dane. But this was a game which I couldn't put down. I think it really captured the essence of discovery and exploration that Link to the Past did. Really enjoyed the dungeons and going to all the areas. How every area had something you can collect and sort of use to upgrade your items and everything. And I think the dungeon design was really smart too, how it allowed you to progress. And this was also a game that's between that 10 and 13 hour mark to sort of do everything, do the side quest and everything. Nice and quick to sort of get your taste. And yeah, I really, really loved it. And
I definitely echo that as well. It's Blossom Tales is just a a really awesome calling to Zelda, like a callback to Zelda, and it just kind of, when we didn't have anything like that on the Switch, I guess we're gonna get Link's Awakening at some point now, but when we didn't have anything like that, it was just an awesome way to play a 2D Zelda on a Switch, and they did a really good job of it.
Yeah, they did.
Sure.
It's a nice throwback.
And Party Crashes. This is such a fun multiplayer sort of get your mates around the TV game, but it has so many modes in it. So you can have like just a normal race, or you can have like a race where it's elimination, which is the one my friends and I had a lot of fun with the other night. Really, really enjoy it. It's an Australian studio, Giant Margarita Games. Yeah, just thinking back to it, just how much screaming was going on in my lounge room. Like, God damn it!
I love those games. That's awesome.
And like the power ups, like there's one where it just like blurs out the screen and it just like kills us all instantly if it's like activated on a corner. And probably another one, which in the same vein is Nidhogg 2. Really enjoy this. So much fun. I think even watching this game, so you can just feel the suspense. Just like every scene, every like level you move on within the screen, it's just you're just clenching your fist, just like this is like constantly doing that all the time. So basically, you've got to try and you've got weapons like swords and fists and whatever, and you've got to try and move to the other side of the level. One person's trying to get to the left, the other person's trying to get to the right, and it just makes for a really good party game.
Yeah, cool. I have to look into that one because I love that. I love the shoulder to shoulder playing those type of games. So they make it so much fun.
Yeah, definitely recommend it, unless you don't want your kids getting angry at other. I think
that's more probably less for my kids, more so. Hey, come here, mate. I got another game here. Let's play this after Super Smash Bros. and jump onto that. So no, that sounds good. And just on like probably the last one for me, just as a multiplayer, like Towerfall. So again, Towerfall. So they came from it's a game made by Matt Makes Games, previous to Celeste. Buddy actually put me onto this one because that was his introduction, I think, to Matt Makes Games, and he was the one who said, look, if you really enjoyed Celeste, get into this game because like you can really see the origin as to how they came up with some of the mechanisms with Celeste. It's an awesome game. It's got a campaign. There's I think there's a couple of not DLCs, but there's originally they brought out the game. I think it was in 2013. Then they put extra like levels and a few other bits and pieces onto it. So like if you jumped onto the Nintendo eShop now, like you get the full suite of the games all built in. It's relatively cheap. I don't think it's that expensive. And it's just one of those ones where like I've played it single player and it's a lot of fun, but I think where the fun comes through is multiplayer. So it's 1 to 4 players. It's like this archery 2D pixel art type game. And it's awesome. It's a really lot of fun. It's like definitely a party game where just outlast, outplay. Yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of yelling. And I'm keen to get a few people in and get into it. So that's just another one there. That's Towerfall. Yeah, again, digital only.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are familiar with that game because early on in the PlayStation 4 life, that was made available through PlayStation Plus for free. Oh,
okay.
Yeah, so I played a lot of that on the PlayStation 2, and that is such a fun game too.
It's so fun.
Yeah, sort of in that Super Smash Brothers esque type thing where you're like, if you get hit by one arrow, you're gone, you're out, and you like lost your life, and you come back, and a lot of fun. Yeah,
and just like the archery about like you've got X amount of arrows, and you can basically build on to collect other arrows that have different abilities, and the fact that you shooting these arrows, and you're like, well, I'm out, I've got to go get them, and then you got to go screaming across the levels and the level to try and scour up all your arrows back, so then you can get back into play. So like, there's a lot of strategy behind it. There's a lot of banter. It's one of those games where you just rip in, have a great time.
Yeah, totally. Eric, any more from you?
The last one that I'll add is just Yoku's Island Express. It was a really, really cool, unique game because it said, here's pinball, here's a dung beetle, here's a 2D adventure game, go at it. And I just had a whole bunch of fun with that, and it has really fun islandy music. And they did a lot with the pinball adventure game, which I didn't even know was a thing until playing this, but I loved it.
Like just the moment for moment gameplay, just like using the bumpers and everything, seeing how they work. Like I want to go up there when you flick your bumper, you go flying up there. Awesome.
Yeah, they really did play with it a lot, and it was fun. It was fun exploring an island using just pinball mechanics, which is just weird, but it works.
Very cool.
And probably one I just want to leave for lucky last is Cave Story Plus. Love Cave Story. I've loved Cave Story since it's been free on PC. And as far as a console goes, Nintendo has been the only one Cave Story has been on. It's been on WiiWare, then 3DS, and now it's on Switch. I will just say about the Switch version that they decided to charge 40 Australian dollars for it, whereas previously on Steam and other platforms it's been about 20. So they've doubled the price for the Switch version. And I've only picked it up recently on Switch because it was on sale for half price. So I got it for 20. Definitely a game to have in your wish list. It's basically like a 2D Metroidvania in just broad terms. But I really love how the sort of mechanics of the game is when you shoot enemies, basically there's little triangles drop out of the enemies. And once you collect them, you can sort of upgrade from level 1 to level 3. And that just upgrades the power of your guns and weapons. And when you get hit, you sort of lose those. So you can go from level 3 down to level 2 and your weapons become weaker. So if you're doing bosses or whatever and you're getting hit, your weapons are getting weaker as well as your health going down.
Okay.
Yeah. And on top of that, there's like a really interesting story there too, as well as like the gorgeous pixel art. So definitely recommend that. Maybe not at $40, that might be pushing it, but when it's on sale, like myself, pick it up. Definitely recommend it.
Always checking out those sales.
Yes, you got to check out those sales. I've got like a big wish list, and like I go down them every now and again. Oh, that's on sale. Like, is it cheap enough? Chuck some money onto it, pick it up. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think that brings us to the end. Thank you very much for sticking around for such a long podcast.
No, it was great. Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure.
Where can the audience find your stuff? Eric, we'll start with you.
They can find me basically Twitter, Nintendo Numbers, or Nintendo by Numbers on YouTube, and you'll find me doing lots of YouTube stuff.
Yep, you're still killing it over on YouTube, doing videos close to daily. I know sometimes you might some things might come up and you won't get a video out, but you're doing a lot each week.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like, I tried to get back into doing the daily thing for a while, and I let myself slide back into every couple days. I don't know. The problem is doing daily content is it does affect quality, and I'm always about quality. So, I just still balancing act and finding out where I fit into. I've only been doing this for a couple months, so we'll get there.
Yeah, for sure. And Dane, where can they find your podcast?
Yeah, so I guess my podcast, Pushing Through Blue, can be found across most podcast platforms. So have a look there. So iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, I think as well, Anchor. So just have a look at Pushing Through Blue. Also available on Twitter and Instagram as well. So appreciate it. Go have a look at that one there. Personally, I can be found at Instagram and Twitter at Dane Pevy, DANEPEVY. Otherwise, I'm part of the 8-Bit Collective, just like you, Drew and Bryce. I guess from my position, I joined 8-Bit at the start of the year. I'm more behind the scenes, just looking after some of the social media. So certainly, I love the community within the 8-Bit, and I love the interaction. So if you're ever on any of the 8-Bit socials, Twitter, Instagram, definitely have a look out. We are 8-Bit across all the socials. Reach out to us, interact, let's have some fun.
Absolutely. And I love what you're doing with your podcast, dude. Like, having that platform to be able to push such an important message, which is something that we often as a society don't like to think about. And we might think we're alone when we're thinking, like, when we're dealing with some stresses or mental health issues. And you bringing to light sort of maybe your experience or guest experience, or like you did with Buddy Watson, talk about the Celeste and all the themes in that. I think it is very important, and it's really unique what you're doing with it too. And personally, me listening to it and being in some places where I might be feeling a bit darker or a bit down, just knowing that other people feel the same way and there are things you can do about it, whether it's go for a walk or even going to a doctor. It's really important, and thank you so much for doing it, dude. I recommend everyone go and check out Dane's podcast, Pushing Through Blue, like you said, on all podcast services. Yeah,
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me. And just like you said, look, the podcast is an interview type podcast where I'm very privileged to be able to share people's stories about their own mental health experiences, and ultimately the podcast is there to bring awareness to mental health, to definitely smash that stigma surrounding mental health, and just start having conversations, because you can jump on there. My podcast, my own story is on there. It's one of the original ones, and as I said, I've been very privileged to have other people share their stories. And if I could just help that one person, just bring a light as to, knowing that they are not alone, that there is help available, and what sort of help and what sort of road can they take to start having conversations. Having conversations is one of the biggest hurdles. And if I can encourage someone to just open up to someone they trust, or to Beyond Blue or Lifeline, and just start talking and helping manage them, because it does not discriminate. Everyone goes through it. Do not feel what is happening to you is isolated to you. Everyone goes through it. So just talk. And start that conversation.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening to the House of Mario episode 84. You can find me on Twitter at iDruby, and you can find the show at the House of Mario. If you enjoy the show, be sure to leave a subscribe and an iTunes review on your platform of choice. Obviously, you can't leave an iTunes review on another platform, but whatever platform feedback that certain platform leaves, that'll be good. We are part of the 8-Bit Collective, 10 plus Australian podcasts bringing awesome audio content to your ears, so please check it out. They have actually recently launched a Patreon, so go over to We Are 8-Bit over on Patreon and see if any of the tiers appeal to you. Anyway, guys, thank you very much, and we'll catch you next week.
Goodbye.
Sounds good. Much love, everyone.